Hey everybody, you are tuning in to the Canary Crying News Talk live stream pre-stream. Congratulations. We're going to start the show in just about a minute, but everybody, let's hear a rousing round of applause for Proverbs 15:14 in the YouTube chat for first comment of the day. That's right, Proverbs, you did it. You got it. Congratulations, buddy. Now, here's the thing, folks. Remember to follow us on multiple locations. It's very important. I know you love the YouTubes. You might pretend you don't love the YouTubes, but your actions speak louder than words. So that's all right. We're still on YouTube for now, but make sure to follow us in multiple locations. The best way to do that is just go to our link tree. Gons is going to throw the link tree link into the chat there. Click on that. That'll link you to all the different places that we will be streaming and broadcasting after the show. Remember the podcast version as well. All right, folks, so we are going to get started in just a moment. So make sure to stay hydrated, put your seatbelt on, and pay attention, okay? Time to pay attention. Sit down. Quiet over there. Let's go.
The world is getting crazier. People are acting more and more insane. The end of the world is tomorrow. Tomorrow. There's only one thing to do when the world is falling apart. Listen to Basil and Gonz as they discuss this week's news and events through the lens of Bible prophecy.
You are listening to Canary Crying News Talk.
You're listening to Canary Crying News Talk. Today is May 21st, 2021. This is episode 340. And today, dope reboot. You know it. You love it. Razzle dazzle, baby. I'm your best buddy, Basil.
And this is Gons, your favorite Asian provocateur for Christ. Basil, I need you to refresh your video real quick again. I don't know what the deal is. Welcome to the podcast where we bring you the best news, which is the gospel message of Jesus Christ, while reporting the egregious with a well-rounded, biblically grounded take on world events. Thank you for being here on this National Rapture Day.
Wow, we did it.
Yeah.
Wait, we're still here.
Yeah, we're still here. Yeah, National Rapture Day. It was based on Harold Camping's failed rapture prophecy, which was supposed to be May 21st, 2011 or something. And
this was one of the recent ones.
Yeah, when it didn't happen, people celebrated and came up with the National Rapture Day, I guess.
Is this like a satirical holiday?
I think so.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if they're celebrating not being raptured, sounds like satirical to me. Those silly atheists.
Yeah, you're supposed to celebrate by, let's see, what does it say here? Celebrate by food and drink. I know. It's yeah.
Are you reading something? Or
there's like a Days of the Year thing and playing Bob Dylan's All Along the Watchtower and Britney Spears Till the World Ends.
Wait, okay. Okay. If you're going to make this a thing, let's make it a thing. What are you reading? What's the source? And read through the list. What are the actions?
Okay, it's
I don't
days
like this meandering, lazy, sleepy Gons just saying the names of celebrities and what could only be this sort of delusional drowsiness.
Appreciate you calling me delusional.
Yeah.
Daysoftheyear.com, and there's a little section that explains what Rapture Day is, and then there's a section titled How to Celebrate Rapture Day. And it says here, the best way to celebrate Rapture Day is to party like the world really is about to end. You can start organizing your party by making a list of the foods you'd stock up on if the world really was ending. And since the world would be ending anyways, counting calories will be pointless. If you love Twinkies, potato chips, or gummy bears of all shapes and sizes, take advantage of this opportunity and eat as much of your favorite junk food.
Party.
Yeah.
We've all had apocalypse parties. We know what an apocalypse party looks like.
Sure.
Yeah. Well, any updates since the last episode, Gons?
Yeah, there was, but I don't remember. I mean, it probably isn't that important.
I got one.
Nobody cares. Yeah. What's up?
Bike ride down by the river, checking in with my homies down there.
Yeah.
Full on bulldozers.
Oh.
Bulldozed the city, the tent city.
Oh, I was going to say the bulldozer city. So the tent city is being eradicated with the bulldozer.
Brutal.
Wow.
It was its own apocalypse. Yes. So apparently, I didn't see many. The people were gone. Obviously, they had been rousted, and there were full on big yellow tractors, just pushing and pulling and scooping tents. And I mean, one of them. I told you about the Taj Mahal, the houseless Taj Mahal. They had used pallets and stuff built. They basically built the Mall of America of people living down by the river. And they couldn't. The tractor was like smashing it. Like it actually had to work. The construction on these things are incredible. So yeah, there you go. I don't know what it's going to look like when I go down there next. But
was there like a Tiananmen Square moment with the homeless guy like no in front of the tractor?
No, I did not that I saw. Hopefully not. I think they got rousted. There's I don't know. I didn't see many people. There's a couple guys, coming out of their tents, pulling their pants up, grabbing whatever they could and running. I'm
also picturing that Austin Powers scene where there's like an extended part there where the guys are, I think Austin Powers is in the tractor and there's like a ridiculous long standoff as the tractor slowly runs over the guy. Anyway,
yes, I think it was a golf cart.
Oh, was it a golf cart? I don't remember.
It was in the tunnels. I remember.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Oh, nothing. So there we go. That's all I got.
Excellent. Well, Joe Biden was giving a speech at the Coast Guard's graduation ceremony, and this video went somewhat viral of him. Well, let's just play it.
I can only assume that you will enjoy educating your family about how the Coast Guard is, quote, the hard nucleus around the Navy forms in times of war. You're a really dull class. I mean, come on, man. Is the sun getting to you? I would think you'd have an opportunity when I say that about the Navy to clap, but being here together, I can hope.
The smattering.
Yeah, the smattering.
That's as bad as Bush. Please clap.
Yeah.
Jeb Bush.
Yeah, but what's funny is he went to his default line. He brought out the come on, man. Like he went to his patent line to get people's attention. It was great.
Come on, man.
You know what? This is my analysis. I could be wrong or right. Who knows? But the military is not necessarily the biggest fan of Biden.
Not at all.
And he's not used to not getting clapped for, I think.
Oh, he's not. He's not used to a lot of things.
Yeah, he's he's usually just talking to his own people.
Yeah,
his supporters. So he thinks he can just say whatever he wants. It's an interesting aspect of public speaking too, because it's kind of a little trick. You just like, I don't know, if you're speaking to a school and they're whatever, you mention their mascot or their colors or something, it's kind of like an automatic applause break,
right?
And I think that's what he was going for here.
Yeah, the chat's pointing it out that it was a Ronald Reagan quote, and he got a huge applause when he said it, which goes to show that number one, he notoriously lifts other people's speeches in his speeches. Yeah. I don't know if he meant to quote it or what, but he's been caught like copying speeches before. There's like a 1980s news report where he had to like apologize. Didn't he have to step down from running for governor or something like that because he got caught plagiarizing?
No, I think he had to step. He definitely got caught plagiarizing, but he had to step down because he lied about his education.
Oh, that's right.
He said he was like whatever 98th percentile or whatever. He just said like a series of lies about his education and got called out for it on national TV. And I think he was trying to run for president.
Was it? I don't remember.
I don't know. It's been a while since I looked at it, but it was some big important election, and yeah, he just got totally smashed for lying about that. But yes, also notorious speech lifter.
Yeah, and also I don't know how many people are really that familiar with the Reagan quote to that level, but also it just goes to show countenance matters. The deliverer is just as important as the message being delivered in a president.
The medium is the message.
Yeah.
How it is delivered is just as important as the delivery.
Yeah, because I can imagine the Biden people like, oh, it's a great great quote. It's probably in his notes like Reagan got a huge applause on this one, so he says it. Nobody says anything, and then he gets up, calls him out. Hey, come on, man. Where's the applause? And then like one guy, woo, golf clap.
Fun. I'm being reminded in the chat here, thanks Cody, that not only did he lie about being like the number one student, when they checked it, he was like the worst student.
I know.
Like, wasn't even good.
Wasn't that also when he got confronted with that? Wasn't that part of when he said he would do push-ups or fight the guy or whatever it was? I thought that was the controversy.
He talks about fighting so many people. He tries to fight so many reporters. He threatens reporters with violence so often.
All right. Anyway,
can you imagine Trump doing what he did the 2 days ago with the truck thing, telling a reporter to step in front of the truck so he can run him over? If Trump had said something like that, oh my gosh, we would still be hearing about it.
Oh, it would be
on every podcast, every newscast is all about how Trump threatened violence on reporters by running them over in his Ford F-150.
Yeah, which, by the way, I don't know if you wanted to bring it up, but I guess there's some controversy about the handle, the passenger seat driver's handle, steering wheel thing.
I don't necessarily want to make it a big thing, but yes, there was a fact check. There's a number of fact checks on Biden and him driving that F-150. And the fact checks are, no, Biden didn't have a secondary control, the steering wheel, and a Secret Service man driving. No, fact check, false. The Secret Service man was holding a camera. Bro, I don't know how you... It is not a camera. It's a steering wheel. It's a big circle. I don't know what they're trying to pull. But as is told to me by our producers, that the clip that had the angle that showed the steering wheel got scrubbed off of the internet.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
Yeah, they were telling. I was told that our episode where we showed the video is the only place that they could find that actually showed that angle, that it got taken off.
Wow.
Yeah. So I don't know. I didn't investigate much further than that. But yes, they're trying to fact check the fact that his Secret Service person had a secondary steering wheel, which is so dumb because who cares?
Who cares? Yeah, who cares?
Why lie about that? It's so obvious. And yeah, I mean, honestly, yeah, I don't really want the president of the United States. Let's just say we liked him, whoever he was. Let's say it was a guy. Let's say it was me. You don't want me testing the limits of a brand new
and then accidentally running
60,
over.
Right, 0 to 60 in 4 seconds. New vehicle. You don't want me controlling that as the president, because that's just as dangerous as whatever.
Yeah, and he was pulling up in front of people, a bunch of reporters. So. It could have been really ugly.
Threaten the reporters, though. I can't promise I won't threaten reporters.
Okay,
Just
well,
kidding,
let's get into some Flippy update.
Let's do it.
Flippy update.
Do you want fries with that?
Okay, here we go. This is the Flippy update. For those who don't know, Flippy is the colloquial name for the disembodied robot arms that are taking our jobs, enslaving our children, and flirting with our spouses. We use talking about Flippy as a way to explore all the new, fun, and exciting ways that robots are taking over the world and just how there's nothing we can do about it. Today, this is coming from Yahoo Finance, yahoo.com. The headline is Robot Barber Shaves Lucifer star Tom Ellis in test of 5G network. How many things can we pack into one story? It reads like this. Lucifer actor Tom Ellis has been shaved by a robotic arm controlled by a barber 250 miles away in a new test of EE's 5G network. The demonstration sees a London-based barber use motion capture to remotely shave the actor, who is on a snowdon in Wales, with the barber's movements tracked and sent over EE's public 5G network to be mimicked by the robot shaver. Call it what it is. It's Flippy. Gosh, I can't believe they didn't use Flippy's name in this. It's insulting. The test will be the subject of a new advertising campaign by the mobile network, 5G technology, blah, blah, blah. It goes into 5G and everything. Not very interesting. But basically, this guy had a very special robotic glove that he used to hold a straight razor, which communicated via 5G with Flippy the robot arm, who is holding his own straight razor, shaving Lucifer on a mountain. So that's cool. Well, we got robots, we got the devil, we've got 5G. The only thing that they're missing is they weren't simultaneously vaccinating Lucifer.
Well, I was a couple things to point out. First off, there's a video that plays on the article here that shows the whole process here. And in the video, stashed Kevin Bacon.
What?
Yeah, mustached Kevin Bacon is in there. I haven't seen Kevin Bacon in a long time. Remember Invisible Man?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so he's with the barber. He's like in the shop with the barber, and I don't know why that's important. It's just he's there, and then you see him sitting there. He's got the first off, who put the shaving cream on the Lucifer's face? Did he have to do that himself, or
maybe it's the robot? Why not?
Oh, they should show that then. Second of all,
I want proof.
I want proof.
Unedited live stream.
And the actor has got Tom Ellis. He looks really nervous when the robot arm with the blade comes towards his face. It's just a very unnerving. He's kind of looking like, oh boy, here it goes. And the other thing I thought of was, this is very interesting because, of course, in Revelation 13, you have the Antichrist, or one of the horns of the beast, who many commentators have suggested is the man of sin, Antichrist, dies from a mortal head wound, yet lives. He kind of gets brought back to life in a sort of false resurrection. This would be what if this was kind of the moment here where Lucifer, the man playing Lucifer, is sitting in a chair with a flippy robot arm about to shave his face, and decapitated. Ooh, and then they're all, yikes. Oh no, we cut off Lucifer's head.
Don't worry, he's okay.
Don't worry, we can build an image to this man beast, and he's back, and then everybody has to take his mark on their head or forearm or right arm or forehead.
You mentioned Kevin Bacon.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen the movie The River Wild?
A long time ago.
Okay. Just want to take this opportunity to say that I saw The River Wild last week. Movie from 1994 with Kevin Bacon and, what is that woman's name? Somebody say it in the chat. Doesn't matter. Meryl Streep. Thank you. Where Kevin Bacon plays a criminal and hijacks a whitewater raft to escape the police. So,
nice. Do you know what?
It's riveting.
The movie that really my Kevin Bacon intake was Tremors. Do you remember Tremors?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You can't touch the ground. It was a fun game to play, at age 10 or something, where you go to the park and can't touch the ground or the tremors are going to get you.
I was a huge Tremors fan. The thing that's burned into my mind, I think it's from Tremors 2, the guy who had the bunker that had the walls filled with guns. You remember that? I think it was Tremors 2, maybe Tremors 1. I don't remember. But that image has been stuck in my mind ever since I saw it as a kid, and I just thought it was so cool. Just how an underground. I mean, now that I'm thinking about it, seems to have been a pretty impactful event, me seeing that with now my obsession with apocalypse bunkers and walls of guns, that sort of thing.
Well, there you go. We totally went offline there with from Lucifer's face getting shaved to
connections.
Yeah, we're connecting the dots
Kevin
is all we're doing.
Bacon hijacking a whitewater raft.
Yeah. Okay.
Now I'm looking for my chapstick. What's the next story?
Next story.
Are you ready to become cyber? Nephilim update. Nephilim update. Nephilim update.
So this could have been a Flippy update on its own, but we're going to call it a Nephilim update because another Yahoo story, Yahoo News. Would you like a third thumb? Scientists create robotic prosthetic in world first. Now, I remember us reporting on something along these lines a while ago, but I think when we reported it, it was still kind of a proof of concept. They didn't really have anything, concrete. But here's what it says. It sounds like a sci-fi plot, but a world first could pave the way for cyborg-like additions to our bodies in the future. British scientists found that using a prosthetic third thumb can force the brain to adapt, allowing the wearer to use it to complete tasks like building a tower of blocks blindfolded completely naturally. In a study...
What does that have to do with having a third thumb?
Oh, I'll show you. There's a video here that's pretty interesting.
Okay.
In a study, scientists attached an extra robotic thumb below participants' pinky finger, then took MRI scans of the wearer's brain and found they had adapted to accommodate using the extra thumb. The findings are believed to be a first step towards augmenting our bodies using prosthetics akin to the cyborgs of science fiction in the future. There's a picture here for those of you watching. You have a man's hand, and then there's like a little prosthetic piece that looks like another thumb coming out of the other side below the pinky. The project was the work of researchers from the University College London Institute of Cognitive Neuroscience and designer Danny Clode, who began developing the device called the Third Thumb as part of a graduate project at the Royal College of Art.
So creative.
I know. Professor Tamar Macon, lead author of the study, said, quote, "Body augmentation is a growing field aimed at extending our physical abilities, yet we lack a clear understanding of how our brains can adapt to it. By studying people using Danny's cleverly designed third thumb, we sought to answer key questions around whether the human brain can support an extra body part and how the technology might impact our brain." First author of the study, Paulina Kieliba, added, quote, "Body augmentation could one day be valuable to society in numerous ways, such as enabling a surgeon to get by without an assistant, or a factory worker to work more efficiently. This line of work could revolutionize the concept of prosthetics, and it can help someone who permanently or temporarily can only use one hand to do everything with that hand. But to get there, we need to continue researching the complicated interdisciplinary questions of how these devices interact with our brain." It goes into more of the details here, and there's a photo of a man holding a little soccer ball, like a mini soccer ball, and then a smiley face ball with his index finger and middle finger, and then the extra thumb holding another ball on the side. And let me play that video for you, Basil. Go away, other video. And hopefully we'll get an idea of what's going on here. Should I play the audio too, or should I just show you what's going on here?
I haven't heard it.
Okay, let me see.
They don't curse, do they?
I don't think so.
I mean, it could be pretty frustrating trying to control a sixth
What would you
finger.
do with an extra thumb? Extra body parts can extend and augment human capabilities. But while augmentative technology is progressing rapidly, we're still lacking answers to some fundamental questions. Can the human brain support an extra body part?
Okay, so before we show more of this, some of the things that are showing here is a person using this prosthetic hand or finger to pick up a bottle and unscrewing the bottle with one hand. So you're able to pick it up and unscrew with one hand.
Which nobody can do without that extra thumb.
I know, I can kind of do that with one hand, depending on how tight the bottle cap is screwed on. Being able to hold some cards.
Yeah, again, nothing that you couldn't do with the hands you currently have, but okay.
Let's see what else. Here we go. Let's see what they're doing here with the
basics of using the thumb.
Okay, so now they're picking things up.
We also encourage them to take it home and use it as they liked.
Playing the guitar.
With time, people got better at using the thumb. Practice makes perfect.
What were you going to say?
Nothing. The guitar is the only thing that looks like you can do. It's doing something that you couldn't already do. You know, some people don't have quite the pinky extension that others do. So having that third thumb coming down off your wrist would help.
Sure.
It's just shreds super hard.
Which, interestingly, what movie was it? Was it The Fifth Element or something that had a piano player with the extra fingers? I don't remember.
I don't recall that.
But here's why this is a Nephilim update, and it's something to look at least biblically here. If you go into, I believe it is 1 Chronicles 10:6, and it's mirrored again in 2 Samuel 21:20. It talks about the Battle of Gath, where there was a man of great stature with 6 fingers on each hand and 6 toes on each foot, 24 in all. He too was descended from Rapha. And when he taunted Israel, Jonathan, the son of David's brother, Shimei, killed him. So these descendants of Rapha and Gath fell at the hands of David and his servants. And of course, Rapha is in Strong's 7496, and it means shades or ghosts, dead, departed spirits, spirits of the dead. And some of our colleague researchers have connected the Rapha to the disembodied spirits of the Nephilim. So for whatever that looked like, in the Nephilim seed, remaining in the lands post flood, some of them seem to have had 6 fingers on each hand and 6 toes on each foot. So, just so happens, modern science trying to mimic, maybe knowing or not knowingly, this extra finger that reflects the descendants of Rapha, the spirits of the dead.
Nephilim.
Cyborg Nephilim, yeah. So, it's always interesting to see the spiritual implications of something like this, which, of course, you're not going to really get from mainstream deconstruction of a story like this. So
only here, folks.
Only here. We reference the Bible to have commentary. Most people, surprisingly, don't know that there's some scripture about these beings that lived in the Old Testament times that had the extra finger there on each hand. Okay. So anyway, just thought it was interesting.
Speaking of 6 fingers, Gons, I got a banana update.
You can't take the
CRISPR.
You can't take the
Cas9.
I want to start by thanking everyone who has taken the time to take pictures of green bananas and fill my inbox with them. I really appreciate that, and so does Gons.
Yeah.
You got a couple coming in on your side, huh?
Well,
Did they say
yeah.
forward this to Basil?
No, it didn't, but we got some.
You got your own pictures of bananas.
Well, no, they're coming into the Canary Cry radio at gmail.com.
Yeah,
so
I do appreciate it. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah.
But let's see here. This is coming from geneticliteracyproject.org, and the headline is "Last and Only Hope: With Global Banana Crop Under Siege from Fungal Disease, CRISPR may be the only remaining solution." Only remaining solution. The last chance for bananas to survive the next generation of human agriculture is genetic modification.
And by the way, before you move on here, I'd like to say that this picture of the bananas in the article, like your dream come true. They're the greenest.
All green. They look delicious.
Yeah. Okay.
The banana as we know it is in trouble. Emerging reports suggest the fruit's deadliest disease has been spotted in Peru and Venezuela, two of the world's largest exporters of bananas. Following Colombia's confirmed infections in 2019, it appears the disease is spreading through Latin America, and biosecurity measures meant to contain the pathogen have been unsuccessful. These bananas are not masking up. They're not social distancing. They're killing banana grandma.
Rebel bananas.
Because the disease is often undetectable for up to 2 years. It is likely that TR4 exists in Latin America beyond Peru, Venezuela, and Colombia, waiting to be recognized and already steadily spreading. Good news came at the end of February when Australian researchers announced a new banana genetically modified to be resistant to TR4. The team managed to insert the gene that makes one of the wild banana varieties resistant into a commercial banana, and the researchers are now hoping to continue to boost the new banana's immunity. Oh my gosh. Boost the banana's immunity using CRISPR. But how did the industry come to think of GM as its last and only hope? I don't think we need to go into the details necessarily. But
it's one more mini paragraph.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, I thought it was that was such like a cliffhanger. I thought it was going to go into like 1,000 paragraphs. We'll finish up here. Bananas are far from our only monocrop. Many of the world's staples rest precariously upon just a handful of varieties. And while genetic modification promises us another tool to fight pathogens, it's worth reflecting on just how reactive this process is. So, you know what I love about this show, Gons? Sometimes people don't appreciate our sort of early show ramblings at the beginning of the show while we're sort of waiting for everybody to get here, catching up with one another, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But if I didn't go off on bananas and green bananas and how I couldn't find bananas a week ago, we would not know about this. We would not know that the banana is dying and the last and only hope is CRISPR. It truly is a tangled web we weave. Yeah. And so, this is very interesting. There is a day, it seems like, that there will be no such thing as a genetically unmodified banana. Thanks, fungus.
Yeah. Well, I guess I suppose we wouldn't be as inclined to report on it as one thing. I mean, the banana CRISPR story may have come across my desk and we would have said, of course, more genetically modified fruit.
I don't know. We probably would have skipped it. It sounds like something we would have skipped if we were not constantly reminded about the bananas by people sending pictures of bananas to our inboxes.
Hasn't reached every banana shelf yet, but
fungus,
it is coming.
Man.
I know, fungus. That's the other part of this.
It's invading our bananas. It's invading our cicadas. It's invading our therapist's office, the fungus.
The bananas are tripping balls.
I don't know if you can say that, but okay. Who knows? Maybe the banana psilocybin. It seems like the psilocybin fungus is going to get into pretty much everything. It'll be the new normal.
The new normal.
Say no to bugs, kids.
Say no to bugs. Yep. So, an important update there to keep everybody alert and aware that our bananas are going the way of genetic modification, for
What's
better
next?
or worse. I like how you just move on.
WACCINE. WACCINE.
I wanna die or be decapacitated. I wanna be vaccinated.
Real quick.
Okay, yeah.
On the fungus, there are some scientists who believe, and there's the fungus on Mars.
Yep.
There are scientists that believe that if we did have extraterrestrial life come to Earth, it would be in the form of fungus spores.
Right.
So I don't know. Maybe this whole UFO thing, maybe it's a fungus controlling the UFOs, and disclosure is coming.
Sure. I'm pretty convinced that it's already controlled the brains of our politicians. Yeah. There's a clip here from, it's kind of a comparison between May 19th and May 20th. It's a 23-second clip. It's Pelosi talking about some stuff about social distancing and masks, and then a clip that shows her mingling with no social distancing and no masks.
This is the honor system. The honor system as to whether somebody's been vaccinated. Do you want them breathing in your face on the strength of their honor? We have a responsibility to make sure that the House of the Representatives chamber is not a petri dish.
And no social distancing, no masks. Everybody.
Yeah, I was in the house. Everybody's like screaming in each other's faces.
In petri dish, right there on the house floor.
Yeah, it's even sicker. I mean, she's honor system. You really want to trust the honor system? It's like, okay, can you be more explicit about wanting to divide the country and make citizens not trust one another? And then, of course, the hypocrisy. No Nancy Pelosi clip would be complete without hypocrisy at the end of it.
Yeah. Well, every politician there. Yeah. Yeah. So moving on here, we have
look, we're apolitical here, but a lot of those GOP guys are not wearing masks on the federal on federal land.
Yeah,
there's been a big hubbub about it.
Are they rhinos, or are they just No,
they're not. That's what I'm saying.
They're actual GOP.
They're not wearing masks, Gons. That's how you can tell. The rhinos are wearing masks. They're trying to fit in. But yes, there's some hardcore conservative politicians not wearing their masks during sessions. Those beasts, the honor system. The honor system.
Yeah.
Next up, we got a story here regarding the vaccine from dailymail.co.uk. So just take it for what you will here. The headline, COVID antibody tests cannot prove you are immune to the virus from prior infection or vaccination, FDA warns. Oh, okay. Okay. Testing positive for COVID-19 antibodies is not sufficient replacement for receiving the vaccine, according to a briefing released by the Food and Drug Administration on Wednesday. The tests can determine whether or not an individual has had the virus in the past by looking for signs of the immune response. At least 33 million Americans, love it, have been infected with COVID-19 since the start of the pandemic, and some have argued that have already had the illness should be counted towards America's progress to herd immunity. While antibodies can give some immune protections to a person, the FDA urges Americans to still receive the COVID-19 vaccine despite the antibodies in order to fully protect themselves from the effects of the virus. And the type of antibodies that vaccines trigger are not detectable by tests designed to tell who has already infected, so the blood test likely won't confirm that someone has been vaccinated, functioning like a pseudo immunity passport. This is just a fun thing to point out, which is, yes, as of now, there is no publicly available way to test if somebody has gotten the vaccine, at least from these immunity tests here, which, there's been a lot of talk about the magnet thing and some EMF or something coming off of the vaccination site. I don't know. I've seen the videos, but those videos are easily, sort of anybody could do that. I mean, who knows? I don't know. I haven't tested it myself. I have thought about it, though. I know vaccinated people. I've yet to work up the courage to ask them if I can zap them with my EMF meter or try to magnetize their arm. But I was thinking, like, oh, how would they really know if you have the vaccine? And doing that little magnet thing or some sort of RFID EMF signal would be a pretty dystopian way to tell. You know, they come up with a little scanner, scan your arm, boop, beep. That would be the way to do it. But so far, no disclosure as far as that goes. Anyways, back to the story. So far, 60% of the U.S. adults have had at least one dose of COVID vaccines, and nearly 38% of people aged 18 or older have been fully vaccinated. Antibody tests can play an important role in identifying individuals who may have been exposed to the SARS-CoV-2 virus and may have developed an adaptive immune response. However, antibody tests should not be used at this time to determine immunity or protection against COVID-19 at any time, and especially after a person has received a COVID-19 vaccination, the FDA said in a statement. The FDA will continue to monitor the use of authorized SARS-CoV-2 antibody tests for purposes other than identifying people with an adaptive immune response to SARS-CoV-2 from a recent or prior infection. The FDA said that antibodies provided by the vaccine are different than those a person will form by just contracting COVID-19 and will give needed protection that the regular antibodies do not. But the tests also aren't all designed to detect the exact But the tests also aren't all designed to detect the exact type of antibodies that vaccines trigger. That is a weirdly worded sentence. So they won't function as proof of vaccination either. The FDA said that people who have been vaccinated after recovering from COVID-19 will test negative for antibodies if the test isn't designed to detect the specific vaccines triggered by the shot. Data collected by the American Red Cross through blood donations suggest that a fifth of unvaccinated Americans have COVID-19 antibodies. You know, if I was a conspiratorially thinking person, Gons, this would sound like complete hogwash to me. Oh, no. Don't worry. The vaccines, they make you immune. But we can't test that immunity because it's different. It's different than immunity. It's a different kind of immunity that we can't test for some reason. But if you are immune, you take a test and it says you have the antibodies. That means you're not immune and means you could die of COVID. So just make sure to get the vaccine. This is just weird, twisty, turvy nonsense. That's what someone would say if they were a crazy person. Am I right?
I think they're just trying to confuse everybody at this point and just make them give up on any kind of rational approach to this and just get your free hamburger or whatever it is.
Yeah, and they're cutting off all of the escape routes.
Yeah.
Oh, you think you're immune? Oh, you're testing for immunity? Oh, you think you're good? Well, sorry, you're not. You're not. There's no way out of it. You got to get vaccinated or else you're just a bad person.
Yeah.
And you're going to die. Sorry.
And you're going to die.
Nice knowing you.
Which is not an untrue statement. Eventually, all of us will.
That's true.
Or at least the first death. Yeah.
Let me finish out a little bit of this article here. The briefing comes as the United States' vaccine rollout progress has slowed down in recent weeks. Oh, so you're blatantly saying that they have a reason to tell us that we can't naturally build immunity. I see. And some who have previously tested positive for COVID-19 or the antibodies do not believe getting vaccinated is necessary. The FDA is saying otherwise and encouraging all Americans to get vaccinated if they are able to do so. Daily vaccine distribution in the country slowly increased from December to mid-April. The trend came to a halt in the latter half of April, though, and has since reversed, with the less and less vaccines being administered across the nation every day. The reversal has posed a challenge to health officials as they attempt to combat vaccine skepticism and spread more information on the safety of the approved vaccines. More Americans are eligible for the vaccine than ever before as well, with the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine being approved for emergency use for children aged 12 to 15 last week. Dr. Rochelle Walensky, the director of Doom and the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, confirmed yesterday that over 600,000 children between 12 and 15 have received the vaccine since it became eligible to them last week. Almost half of Americans have received at least one shot of COVID-19 vaccine as of Wednesday afternoon. Wow. Okay. More than a third of Americans are considered fully vaccinated from the virus. Experts estimate that 60% or more Americans will need to be vaccinated in order to reach nationwide herd immunity.
That number keeps changing, by the way.
It does. It changes and changes and changes.
I feel like they said more. I've heard 90. Wasn't it like 90%? Now it's 60?
Yeah, they've been saying between 70 and 90% because that's when Fauci was trying to slither his way out of his lies.
Right.
He ended up having to say 70 to 90%. It's like, that's a pretty wide range,
30 to 100% would be ideal.
No, 30's too low. He would not say that. But yeah, so there you go. Dave would be saying 60%. And I think that's... I don't know where exactly they have a little link here. Where are they getting it? They're getting it from nature.com. Citing the 60% number. And I believe before Fauci came in and was weaseling around it, I believe the official technical herd immunity estimation was 65, I want to say it was, before all of this happened. You know, the general idea was 65% is herd immunity.
Right.
Anyways, there you go. Don't worry, folks. There's no possible way to be immune or have antibodies unless you get vaccinated. And don't even worry. If you have the antibodies, they're fake and they're lame. You got to get the vaccine, and there's no way to test if the vaccine has done anything.
Yeah, this is also interesting, just on a personal kind of anecdotal note there. I have a friend who I guess you can call a normie, just toe the line of everything, went to a UC school, got all the conditioning there. But he got really sick at the end of 2019, and he has a girlfriend who had some friends that came back from Wuhan, China, and that's when he got really, really sick. So he thinks he already had it before the whole outbreak and the lockdown and all that kind of stuff. And when I was talking to him on the phone last summer, he was like, man, I can't wait to get the antibody tests to find out if I actually had COVID, because he had to go to the hospital. He couldn't breathe, the whole deal. He's already suffering from asthma, so it was an easy thing for him to catch something and then go into I can't breathe at all mode. But it's interesting because now it's like, even if you get an antibody test, can't tell if you're immune, can't tell if you're anything. Even if you got your vaccine now, can't tell if it's actually protecting you. So I don't know. It's just it does seem like just more nonsense to get people. Yeah, lies.
Sounds like lies and manipulation.
Yeah.
Liar!
To get people to accept the jab is the only solution, when clearly that's not how this works. At least until COVID-19 happened.
I mean, as far as the science is concerned,
the science is concerned. Well, I know, but no, until COVID-19, don't you know that everything changed? Even science is completely turned on its head.
You don't trust the process of science. You have to trust the institution of science.
Oh, you got to trust the Faucis, yeah.
The institution is the FDA.
The FDA, Fauci.
Also, kind of weird the FDA was saying it.
It is weird, yeah. Aren't they the ones that approve or authorize the vaccines?
Yeah, in the end, the Food and Drug Administration does the authorization, but it's usually the CDC will be the one giving these public health policy type recommendations. But for the FDA to come out and say, oh, because they're more focused on the product. FDA is more focused on the product than it is, sort of the X factors of public health. That's the CDC's job, or the NIH. And so, the FDA coming out and saying, I guess they're relating it specifically to the product of the antibody test.
Right.
I guess is where they're getting their
it's always good to ask the question, who benefits with a story like this?
In this one, nobody. Nobody except the vaccine makers.
Well, they're
like, they keep sending our product overseas. Don't do that.
Do something to help us. FDA comes in. Well, you can't find out if any of you are immune.
Did you see the story about the Africa and the vaccine? I didn't bring it. I should have brought it to the show. But it's something like, now, again, look, this is just something I read. And I didn't bring the article. I should have done it. But they're saying like only 5,000 people have gotten vaccinated in, I think, all of Africa.
Are those the 5,000 Americans that are over there for missionary work?
Possibly could be. And there's all these doctors. African doctors don't trust it. Nobody trusts it.
Yeah, of course.
They don't. They're like shocked when somebody comes in to get the vaccine. They don't even like giving it, but they just kind of do it. And part of that is because of there was a French doctor who I don't know when exactly it was because the clip was kind of mixed in with other clips. But there's this French doctor who was saying, we shouldn't be testing this vaccine up here in Europe. We should test it on Africans first, and then we can give it to Europeans. Which is horrible, but unfortunately is the truth and the legacy of vaccine testing.
Yeah, I think we covered something like that story. I did find a headline here from back in April, so about a month and a half ago. French doctor, this is NBC News, French doctor apologizes for comments on testing a COVID-19 vaccine in Africa, prompting outrage on social media. So
there you go.
He had to apologize.
Yeah, that's the guy.
That's the guy.
And so we're shipping all these vaccines that we don't want to in places like India and Africa. And they showed clips of just pallets upon pallets upon pallets of vaccines that were given to Africa, and they're still wrapped. Nobody wants them. They're not even unwrapping them. Different African countries are just like shipping them back and forth to each other because nobody wants them.
Hot potato. That goes against what I was hearing from Hillary Rodham Clinton, saying that we have to export the vaccines to other countries that are in need. And she was like pounding her fist on the fake table.
Yeah. Well, and it's it works out though for those who are standing with the World Health Organization. The World Health Organization saying that it is a moral catastrophe that white millennials in America are getting vaccinated before African doctors. Yeah. So I stand firm. I stand with the World Health Organization. I believe in the science. I am a social justice warrior. I am protesting the vaccine until all African doctors and nurses are vaccinated. It is I'm eschewing my white privilege.
Good for you.
Thanks.
Good for you, white hog. All right, so we're going to go back to the Genetic Literacy Project website for this article here titled Breathing in CRISPR Enzymes to Treat Infectious Diseases like the Flu or COVID? It might soon be possible.
Oh, great. Aerosolized genome editing.
A team of investigators from the Georgia Institute of Technology and Emory University has developed a CRISPR-based treatment to stop the replication of both the flu virus and the virus that caused COVID-19 in mice. What virus is that? Is that
a different virus?
Is that a different virus? I don't know. It's worded weird. Moreover, the new treatment is delivered to the lungs via a nebulizer, which could make it simple for patients to administer themselves at home. Interestingly, the researchers used mRNA technology to code for Cas13a, which destroys parts of the RNA genetic code that viruses use to replicate in cells in the lung. Using a guide strand, researchers can provide a map that basically tells the Cas13a protein where to attach to the virus's RNA and begin to destroy it. Quote, in our drug, the only thing you have to change to go from one virus to another is the guide strand. We only have to change one sequence of RNA. That's it, explained senior study investigator Philip Santangelo, PhD, a professor in the Wallace H. Coulter Department of Biomedical Engineering at Emory University. Quote, we went from flu to SARS-CoV-2, the virus that caused COVID-19. They're incredibly different viruses, and we were able to do that very, very rapidly by just changing a guide. So that's all it has here. I wonder if there's an original post link. Goes into genetic engineering and biotechnology news. The article keeps going there. I don't know if it's worth reading or not, but not surprising. And we heard this early on with the mRNA stuff that, hey, once we have the breakthrough, it's not the COVID-19. It's not just COVID-19 that this is going to help with the mRNA technology. It's all disease. And we talked about the universal booster concept in the last episode, but this is where all this is headed. It's not so much, hey, prevent COVID. It's, hey, if you ever get sick, you are a bad person.
Because you're an anti-vaxxer.
Because you're an anti-vaxxer. This is where the whole world is headed, is if you get sick, you are a lesser human being. You are a lower class citizen. Mm-hmm. So that's, I think in a weird dystopic type of way, this type of technology sounds great. Hey, use a nebulizer, help you breathe. I'm sure people that I've had asthma when I was younger. I've suffered from pneumonia. I was in the hospital. Nebulizers, man, those things really help you breathe. I'll tell you what, you go from wheezing to like, oh, I could breathe, and then it wears off and you got to do it again. So if you can prevent it, great. But also now you're just breathing in CRISPR into your lungs. Yeah.
Crazy. I know. So interesting how and that's something that isn't directly tied, or at least we haven't seen a direct tie to in the past, but this is specifically CRISPR. Mm-hmm. Now, was CRISPR used for the mRNA vaccines? Do we know? Did we hear anything about that?
I've seen both. Some people suggest that it was sort of it was a similar technology, and other people say that it's not. But
yeah, because although it seems like they would be connected.
Like the methodology.
CRISPR is specifically for editing DNA, which I don't think you necessarily need to do for an mRNA vaccine.
Yeah.
But I'm not a professional.
Okay, here we go. So, according to NPR, this is an article titled CRISPR Scientist's Biography Explores Ethics of Rewriting the Code of Life. And the first paragraph here says, the Pfizer and Moderna COVID-19 vaccines are the first vaccines to be activated by mRNA and would not have been possible without the invention of the gene editing technology known as CRISPR. So maybe it's not related. It's not a direct, they're not directly using CRISPR, but the technology was enabled with the breakthroughs with CRISPR. So,
well, you know what this means?
What?
We'll get vaccines in the chemtrails, baby.
Oh, I thought we already had that. Yeah. What if they start saying that all of a sudden, Oh, by the way, all those chemtrails and all the conspiracy theorists have been telling us and warning us about vaccine in the air.
Yeah, we're going to canopy the nation with aerosolized vaccines. And then it'll be a whole different group of people wearing gas masks outside, baby. Slap that sucker on every time you leave just to not get vaccinated. Oh my gosh, this is going to be a topsy-turvy world.
Yeah, well, not surprised.
Yeah. Well, I got one more fun little story here before we take a break.
Got hairy legs. Got hairy legs.
We all remember the hullabaloo about tax returns and Trump, and how in 2020, right before the election there, they paraded his tax returns out, and that's why we have the 750 tax Trump producership, if anybody's interested. Well, Biden's tax returns just came out, and it was hard to find some stuff about it, but the good old thefederalist.com. So there you go. We're going to get the conservative side of things here. They're doing the good work, putting it out here. The headline is, his returns show Joe Biden has dodged $500,000 in taxes while urging tax increases. Dun, dun, dun.
Ugh.
Yeah.
It makes me
now,
feel,
when it comes to taxes, I think we're rightly a little sensitive to the words used. Things like dodged, avoided, evaded, things like that. They all mean different things. They say he dodged $500,000 in taxes. I don't think that would be the technical term that I would use, but let's read about it. On Monday, the delayed due date for filing federal taxes for the last calendar year, the White House made a theatrical show of releasing President Biden's 2020 tax returns. In so doing, the new administration wanted to show a contrast with Biden's predecessor, Donald Trump. Okay, wow. Only on the Federalist do you get the actual name Donald Trump typed out and not the former guy who did not release his tax returns. But while the White House emphasized the release of Biden's returns, it did not want reporters to scrutinize the content of those returns, because doing so would highlight a pattern of hypocritical behavior by the current president and his family. You don't say. To wit, for the fourth year running, the first family used a questionable tax loophole to avoid paying more than $500,000 in Medicare and Obamacare taxes.
The irony.
I know.
The hypocrisy.
A loophole that the Biden administration now claims it wants to close. And then it goes into it. We'll just go a little bit into the numbers here. The loophole comes because Joe Biden and his wife, Jill, categorized much of their book and speech revenue as profits from two corporations they created rather than as taxable wages. Under current law, corporate profits are not subject to payroll taxes, meaning the Bidens avoided paying 3.8% in taxes, a 2.9% levy that funds Medicare, and a 0.9% tax created by Section 9015 of Obamacare that funds the law on every dollar they categorized as corporate profits rather than wages. Then it goes, it has a little breakdown, a little chart here, but more or less, let's see. It was about in 2017, it was 381,000. In 2018, it was 122,000. And then they had some reason why 2019 and 2020 are both under $10,000 and $5,000 respectively. I don't know if you want to go into the whole thing, but the fact is that old Biden has been, his legacy of being a part of Obamacare and crusading for Medicare and health care for all, and he's slipping out of paying for those very programs. Oh, the irony.
Does it explain why it went down on 2019, 2020? Is it possibly because he knew he was running and he needed to not appear like he was using these loopholes?
Yeah, it was because in 2017 and 18, he had his big book deals, his $8 million book deal.
Okay.
It says right here, the Bidens exploited this loophole most aggressively in 2017 and 2018, when Joe Biden earned millions through a reported $8 million book advance and various speaking engagements. Because Biden spent 2019 and 2020 running for president, the couple's income and therefore their ability to use this loophole dropped. In 2017 2020, Joe Biden reported no income at all from his corporation and therefore could not utilize this loophole, et cetera, et cetera.
Interesting. Well, it's interesting also because loopholes are something that the wealthy use to avoid taxes. I mean, it's just a thing that happens. Trump did that a lot. He used a bunch of loopholes.
Oh, I mean, that's how you stay rich.
Right.
You get rich one way. You stay rich by not paying as much taxes as possible.
It's not how much you make, it's how much you keep, right?
Right. And yes, to be clear, just so nobody mixes it up, we were I don't know if defenders was the right word, but it was just like, yeah, rich guys avoid taxes. That's just what they do. And it's what you have to do to stay rich. Otherwise, the government takes it all. So I'm not surprised that Biden did this, but it's different when you're Trump, who obviously doesn't like taxes and is trying to cut taxes and not trying to virtue signal.
At least his message was consistent.
Nobody was surprised when Trump didn't pay taxes.
Yeah.
But if you're Biden and you're trying to pretend that you love taxes and taxes are good, and you are part of Obamacare and Medicare expansions, and you're avoiding paying for them, you lose a lot of credibility. So that's why I think that Biden's tax returns are a little bit more, they're just more fun.
Well,
than Trump's were.
Plus avoiding Medicare and Obamacare taxes. I mean, that was like the big pillar that the Obama administration, waved around as their big accomplishment. Mm-hmm. And so it's kind of ironic that he's like, well, we can't pay that. Let's do what we can to avoid paying for that because that's ridiculous. It's ridiculous to pay for that. Which, the more Biden goes along here, the more he seems like, I'm not going to say a conservative or a Republican, but he's kind of just like the old guard. He doesn't really.
What it is. He's the old school, self-interested, corporately funded, corporately interested, highly lobbied Democrat who does not care about the working man, does not care about social justice. It's just, he's an old school guy.
Yeah.
And someday they'll realize it.
Sure.
But, I was thinking we had the Trump tax producership. I'm having a hard time finding a good number to pin on Biden for the Biden tax.
$500,000.
$500,000 is the that's it could be 9015, the Obamacare law.
Oh yeah, that's not bad.
9015. This is a little high, I think, for most people. There's the 3.8% that he didn't pay, so it could be 380. It's kind of low though, maybe 38. I don't know.
I don't want to play.
Somebody get creative.
Yeah, not cool to just pull random numbers from this thing. Maybe if
you got to pick the number that represents his taxes. I mean, I think the 3.8 is close. That's the percent he didn't pay. But I don't know. We'll let you. The producers can figure it out. Send us a note.
Yeah.
And speaking of which, Gons, it's time to celebrate some producers.
Are we doing that now?
Do you want to do it now? Do we have any other stories?
I was gonna, since we're a little bit ahead of time today, I did want to just mention.
It does seem to be going fast today.
It goes going by fast. I wanted to share this because it's fun. You know how the United Nations always chooses something for their like a year, the International Year of whatever. A few years ago it was like lights. A couple years ago it was like travel or something, like international travel. Mm-hmm. Well, this year the UN has declared international 2022 to be the International Year of Glass.
What?
Yeah.
International Year of Glass?
2022.
What does that mean?
My first thought, because, glass is slang for high purity methamphetamines.
Uh-huh.
I was thinking, the UN is calling 2022 the year of meth.
Okay.
Or nukes. But no, their whole thing with glass is, sustainable development. Glass is a better use of blah, 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 whatever, better for the environment.
Replace plastics?
Yeah, to replace plastic.
Huh.
Which, I can read some of what they said here on this website, glassonweb.com. The ICG, CGA, and ICOM Glass are promoting 2022 as a United Nations International Year of Glass to underline its scientific, economic, and cultural roles and celebrate several anniversaries. It says here,
celebrating glass.
The exciting journey began in 2018. Support came from 1,500 universities and research centers, societies and associations, museums, artists, educators, manufacturers, and companies in 78 countries and 5 continents. Having successfully negotiated the disruption caused by a pandemic, a draft resolution outlining our ambitions was negotiated with the missions of several UN countries during April and passed the silent process on 11th of May. The formal resolution was agreed at the United Nations General Assembly on May 18th, 2021. Heartfelt thanks, blah, blah, blah. Today begins the task of diffusion and coordination of thousands of activities across the planet. Congresses and seminars, industrial fairs, and glass schools will coexist with artistic exhibitions, books, social media, scientific, technical, and general interest magazines. The internet, underpinned by glass fiber cables and viewing through glass screens, will support communication. We are designing a framework to record, develop, and share ideas across the glass world based on our website and a LinkedIn group. International Year of Glass 2022.
Wow.
So
I don't know. Our chat's full of good ideas. We've got vividness, drawing an allusion to the glass ceiling.
Oh yeah, that was the first thing that I thought of too. Where Hillary Clinton comes out and complains about the glass ceiling, and we're going to shatter through. This might be the when Mystery Babylon shatters through that glass ceiling.
Yeah.
For
We've also
all
got
women.
turning the Middle East to glass. We've got comparisons to the firmament.
The firmament.
Chemical glass.
Oh, yeah.
Project Looking Glass.
Yep.
Yeah. George Glass.
What's George Glass? I don't know what George Glass is.
I have no idea, but I'm going to look him up right now.
Yeah, we're both looking up George Glass.
All right.
Imaginary boyfriend of a character Jan Brady in the 1960s-70s sitcom The Brady Bunch.
I think that one fits better than anything.
Yeah, it's before my time there, but I do remember people talking about George Glass. Now that I read the thing there, the imaginary friend.
Yeah. It's interesting. They did sort of almost directly refer to the Black Mirror, the screens, the iPhones,
the fiber cables. Yep. Interesting. All right. Well, yeah. Just the more you know. You can tell everybody, hey, can't wait till 2022. Why? It's the International Year of Glass. We're going to, I don't know. How would you celebrate that? Wine bottle?
Glass, man.
Yeah.
There's glass everywhere. You got to wear your shoes at the pool.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's take that break.
Let's thank some producers.
It's break time. Come on, take a break.
Okie dokie, folks. We are going to take a quick break today. And Gons, I was going to start doing a new thing, just a new fun thing. We'll see if it sticks. But I thought it'd be fun to start. What is the word? My gosh. Dedicate. Thank you. Start dedicating producer sections to, I don't know, whoever we want. And today, I want to dedicate our producer section today to moms.
Aww.
Yes, that's right. To moms, the Canary Cry moms out there. They're keeping the world going. They're certainly keeping the show going. And part of this is I wanted to read a quick note. We'll do that once we get in there from a Canary Crime mom here. But we're going to thank some producers, folks. So thank your mom and thank you for being here. You might have noticed we have no advertisements, no affiliate codes, selling no supplements. We got no shady money coming in from underwriters, no grants, no scientific research grants, nothing like that, folks. In fact, we are explicitly enemies of the advertising industry. And yes, that may be fighting words to some folks out there. You might know some podcasts or some shows that take advantage of the fact that advertisers around the world are willing to give them dollar bills in order to convince them to package up the attention and the trust of their viewers and incentivize their viewers to sell their viewers for their own personal gain. That's right. The advertising industry is really good. It's done a really great job at convincing content creators that each little number on the viewer count there equals another digit in the dollar signs, baby. But not here. We do not agree. Google, big tech, Facebook, all those companies, 99% of their profits come from advertising. It's the reason for the big data concerns. It's the reason for the privacy practices. It's the reason for data tracking and all that sort of stuff. Your digital clone being constructed so it can be packaged up and sold. And here's the thing, folks. We believe that the advertising industry is a big component of all the digital problems that we have in the world today. And we just keep getting offers. It's crazy. We got another one. What was it? Oh, we got one yesterday, and then we didn't respond. So they sent another one this morning, folks. They want you. They are trying to get us to buckle, and I don't think they listen to the show, which is part of the problem. But again, we had to turn down another advertiser because we don't believe that that is the way to go. In fact, advertising is all wrapped up in the Hegelian dialectic, trying to convince you that your life is not good enough, that your mattress is not good enough, that you can't be happy unless you buy the new cool doodad or trinket or, well, mattress or underwear. I don't know what they're selling. You listen to podcasts, you know. And that's also a big aspect of why people are having a hard time being thankful for their lives nowadays. And it's just an awful, awful practice. That's why we are on the value for value model, folks. That's right. That means that we create value. We do it 3 times a week, and we do the very best we can. And if you get any value out of what we do, you have the opportunity or the responsibility, it's up to you, to put some value back into the system. And you can do that in a lot of ways. We're going to see some fun ways here soon. You can do it with your time, your talent, or your treasure. And it really is a rebellious act against the sort of spiritual grasp that the advertising industry and the principalities and the powers that rule it have over people alive today, especially if you're on the internet. And so we invite you to join us in this quest to slay the dragon of advertising and joining us in the value for value model. And those who do, they're called producers, because that's exactly what they are. It's not just some cute name or something. Really, like the real world, if you pay to have a piece of media produced, you are a producer. And that's why we have these producer parties ready to thank some of those keeping this show alive. Gons, are you ready?
So ready.
So ready. Well, the first one of the first ways you can do this is by heading over to patreon.com/CCNT. That's patreon.com/CCNT. And Gons, we got a few Patreon producers over here. You got the gong ready?
It is so ready.
It is. Okay, first of all, I want to thank producer Mindy F. Thank you very much.
Thank
Producer
you,
Mindy F. Coming in at $3.30 a month there. It's like a little mini Illuminati handler producership. Thank you very much, Mindy. Next, we have producer Tina M.
Thank you, producer Tina.
Yes, and lastly, over here on the Patreon, we have producer 4 Wins.
Thank you, producer 4 Wins.
And 4 Wins sends a note here that I think everybody would like to hear, and it goes a little something like this. Over the past few years, I've become, quote, woke, to the point where I filter almost all news sources and really only listen to MSM to hear what they're not saying. Oh, that's a good strategy. You would have to... MSM, that's the mainstream media. You would have to be a sheep in a clown costume to not see that there has been a paradigm shift in society, and trying to find rational opinions and teachings in both the secular and biblical communities is exhausting. We agree. This is where you guys come in. Over the past few months that I've been listening to CCNT and watching the Face Like the Sun channel, I feel like I'm not carrying a majority of what's left in the world logic rationale. Of the world.
What's left of the world logic.
Okay. Yeah. What's left of the world logic, rationale, and biblical faith on my shoulders. The divide between those stuck in the glamour, as Alice B. calls it, and the few of us who have pulled back some of the veil widens on a daily basis. The two of you and all the Canarians make me feel less alone. So after guiltily remembering every episode for weeks that I meant to support my new community on Patreon, I finally did it. It took under 2 minutes. It seems like a pittance when I broke it down per episode, and I will definitely do more when I am able. Thank you, Basil and Gons, for your dedication. I'm sure the countless hours of reading to bring the truth to those who want to hear it. Thank you for the eschatology without the elitism or alarmism. Thank you for brightening my week with your humor, wit, and faith. I truly think of you as friends. Your friend in faith, 4 Wins. Wow.
All right.
Note. Thank you very much, 4 Wins. And I appreciate that very much. It's always nice to know that the work we do is appreciated, Gons.
Yeah, it's better than blocking people you disagree with, which just happened to me, by the way, in the last few days.
You got blocked.
I got blocked by a pre-tribber.
It's what you get for picking fights all the time.
I wasn't trying to. I said I respectfully disagree, and I stated my reasons. And when a different part of the thread, they basically said that my take is dumber than dumb, and then blocked me. So, yeah.
Wow, what a cool guy.
Cool guy. It's fellow brethren, these are like fellow believers in Jesus Christ. Blocking me because they disagree with my rapture view. Like, come on, man.
I know,
come on,
man.
It's so trivial too. We're all on Twitter. Such a waste.
Children.
We are like children.
Well, that's it for the Patreon producers there, I believe. But here's the thing, folks. A lot of people don't like Patreon, and that's okay. We support you. You don't need to do Patreon. That's why we have canarycryradio.com/support.
canarycryradio.com/support.
That's right. canarycryradio.com/support is a great way to, learn about the value for value model. You can also learn about the Canary Cry Roundtable of Knights and Dames. Oh, Gons, a new Patreon supporter just came in. Should we add him for next time or just do it now?
Well, it depends on who it is, because I did check right before we came in.
No.
Was it a pocket full of sevens?
No, I'm talking about the Patreon.
Oh, Patreon.
Yeah, no, it's okay. We'll save it for next time.
Okay.
I see you. You'll be on the next show. Where was I? Yes, you can learn about the Canary Cry Roundtable of Knights and Dames. You can support the show on a monthly basis by coming in as a recurring producer, which we appreciate all of our recurring producers so much for helping lay down a firm foundation for the show. But if commitment is not your thing, you can go ahead and support the show in a one-time amount in any amount that you would like. There's also cryptocurrencies, some other fun stuff there. So go check it out, folks. Gons, who do we have coming in on the PayPal?
On PayPal, we first want to thank all the recurring producers. And if you just started watching the show in the last 5 minutes, and this is the first time you've ever watched Canary Cry News Talk, no, we don't spend the whole time thanking the producers, but we do thank our producers because we don't advertise other people's products. And we appreciate all the producers out there. I only say that because I saw somebody in the chat say, "Is this all you guys do? Is play jingles and advertise yourselves?" And it's like, no, but we do
please
that.
Everybody, guys.
Yeah. I want to please everybody. I want to do everything for everybody. First up, we want to thank Vladimir.
Vladimir's back.
He's back.
Thank you very much, producer Vladimir, coming in with $76.76. 76.76.
He's our top.
Some sort of code, some sort of KGB code.
KGB code. It's our top producer for episode 340. So we appreciate that. Thank you, Vladimir. No note. Next up, we have producer Robert G.
Thank you very much, producer Robert G.
Robert G. Again, no note. Next, we have the Plastic Cracker.
That's right. The Plastic Cracker on his 4th episode streak here. And I saw some people wanted to make a guess at the riddle, his riddle producerships. But the Plastic Cracker comes in. He says, YouTube chat comes through. Here is the answer producership. 2174 plus 1278 plus 213. I'll read that again for the Canary Cry code breakers. 2174 1278 and 213. Thanks for everything you guys do. Now, Gons, we were not smart enough to figure out his riddle last time. Dollar Signs has an answer in the chat, but we did get an email from the Plastic Cracker and said thanks to the YouTube chat, the riddle has been answered. It was the 3 different types of gematria. Yes, and I did not. I had apparently it's been a while since I've done my gematria homework. I didn't even know that there's 3 kinds.
Yeah, there's what is it? The Hebrew. I don't remember now. I had it last week.
The English, and then the I think it's just like basic or something,
numerical
or simple
or something.
gematria. Yeah. Dollar Signs in the chat. His guess to the riddle was, in quotes, Operation Fat Pig. Maybe that's what the gematria spelled out. I'm not sure, but that was the guess. So thank you, the Plastic Cracker, for bringing the riddles. I just really got everybody on the gematria train there. I had to go back and take a look. I forgot how it worked. But you came in with $36.65.
Yep. Appreciate it. We like the riddles. That one was pretty esoteric.
Well, it's just hardly a riddle. It's more like a Dan Brown novel. It's a Dan Brown Da Vinci Code mystery we had to crack.
And without our producers in the chat, we probably wouldn't have been able to get there without some... the thing with a lot of that kind of stuff is, for me, it's a lot of trial and error, right? So you got to throw something, you see how it works, and then if it doesn't work, you got to try something else. And at a certain point, I have to feed babies, so it gets to the point where I have to choose, do I feed my child, or do I continue to try to solve this riddle?
The ancient texts.
And I chose the baby. Sorry, Plastic Cracker, but we do appreciate your support, your producership, and maybe he'll come at us with another one in the future here.
Okay.
All
Looking
right.
forward to it.
Thank you for that. Next up, we have Cherie.
Producer Cherie H, thank you very much for your producership. Comes in with the episode show producership, $34 for episode 340.
Perfect. Next up, we have producer Rebecca B.
Thank you very much, producer Rebecca B, coming in with $33.40, a mixture between the show number producership and the Illuminati handler producership here. Let's see. We've got a note here from Rebecca. It says, hello, my Asian provocateur for Christ Gons and my best buddy Basil. Just wanted to send you a note and reminder to all Canarians that we can still be Illuminati shills and show number supporters while you're still in the 300 episodes. That's a good point. We were sort of mourning the fact that we were out of the 3-3 numbers, out of the 330s of our episodes. But Rebecca cracked the code like a Dan Brown hero. Cracking the Da Vinci Code. 33 and 40 cents, baby. I was laughing today on my way to work as I listened to your outro montage from Wednesday's episode. I recalled the first time I heard it, and I was so confused. See, I listen to your podcast in the small pockets of time I have, usually in the car or while I'm falling asleep. Don't take that the wrong way. I just like falling asleep to noise. The very first episode of yours that I listened to a couple months ago lulled me into a sweet dreamland, and I was startled awake about 45 minutes later by the sound of a crazy goat. I practically threw my phone across the room trying to get my earbuds out because I had no idea what was going on. I have since come to know it is just the outro and now laugh every time I listen to it. Hope all is well. God bless. Becca B. Thank you very much. Oh, and ends with Philippians 4:19, and my God will supply every need of yours according to his riches and glory in Jesus Christ. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Producer Becca B.
Becca B. And yeah, it's interesting because, again, your Velociraptor is just, people just hear goat.
Yeah. Well, see, I'm a man of many noises. That's the beautiful thing about that sound. It can be whatever it means to you.
I bet if we look up the Foley of Jurassic Park and the Velociraptor, they took samples of a goat.
Oh, I'm sure they did.
To make the sound. So it's not entirely off there, but thank you for that, Becca B. Next up, we have producer Shield Labs.
That's right. Thank you very much, producer Shield Labs. That's Sir Casey, the Shield Knight, coming in on his 10th episode in a row. The streak is so hot, and boom shakalaka, you're still lit, Sir Casey. And Sir Casey comes in with a note here. I normally don't make a deal about birthdays or anything, but I'll mention that today is my birthday, just so I can get that sweet, sweet birthday jingle.
Are we doing it now?
Can you hear my cat rustling through the garbage?
Yes, I can.
Wow.
Your cat is ruining Sir Casey's moment.
I know. Sorry. It's part of it. Sir Casey asked for that.
He
do you have the birthday jingle ready?
It's my birthday! It's my birthday! Happy birthday to me!
There you go. Happy birthday, Sir Casey, the Shield Knight. His note continues. Also, can I get a hi-ya?
There you go.
Play the real one.
From the politician, Howard Dean.
There you go. Howard Dean, the scream that ended a presidential campaign. God bless you guys. He ends. Thank you very much, Sir Casey.
Thank you, Sir Casey.
And happy birthday,
buddy.
Happy
birthday. There you go. Make a shield for yourself for your birthday. Okay. All right. Next up, we have producer Aaron J.
Thank you very much, producer Aaron J. I don't know what this number means, but I'm going to read it. $9.68.
Yep.
Short note.
Short note.
He says, enjoy.
Enjoy. Yes, enjoy the show, everybody. Next up, we have producer Christopher H.
Christopher H. coming in with a pocket full of sevens for a recurring producership. Coming in 777 every month. Thank you very much, producer Christopher.
Thank you, producer Christopher. Next up, we have producer Samuel B.
Woo! Samuel B. also coming in with a pocket full of sevens.
Perfect. Next up, producer Scott K.
Producer Scott K coming in with $7.50, the Trump tax producership.
Oh, yeah.
And Scott K is heating up.
I would love to hit that jingle, but I'm tired of you yelling at me for doing it, so
it's awful.
I will not.
It's a great jingle. We got to fix the frequencies on it. It blows everybody's ears out.
Yeah, only on Skype. Doesn't blow
Guns.
my ears out. Anyway.
It's not about you, man.
It's all about me. Next up, we have producer James H.
Thank you very much, producer James H. On his 8th episode streak. You're the man.
Oh, that's all he gets?
Yes.
Oh, all right.
The next level is 9. He's almost there. Come on, let's go.
Next up, we have producer Ciara.
Producer Ciara, thank you very much. And producer Ciara, who has been putting on a bunch of the Canary Cry meetups across the nation, does send a note, says no responses for tomorrow's meetup. I believe that's today's meetup. But me and a couple of Canarians will be at Universal Studios. There we go. Okay, can't wait to hunt. You should hunt down some symbolism out over there at Universal Studios. I'm sure it's waiting there for you.
Yeah, plenty to do there. And I don't know, maybe we need a campaign in Florida to get more people to listen to the show. We need to rattle the cage of Florida to get all of our Floridians.
Well, you know what's funny is we have a ton of listeners in Florida. It's just that they have not been locked down as much as everybody else, so I don't think they care as much to go meet with other people.
They're like, yeah, we've been meeting other people for a year.
Yeah, we never stop.
Yeah, we need to get... Doesn't our buddy Mike Heiser live over in Florida now?
Yes. Yeah, he did. He moved a couple years ago.
Yeah, we should get him to put a flag up or something. Canary Cry flag. Just on his car, you know? You know how they have sports flags on cars?
Yeah, he's gone corpo, man.
Oh, yeah, he can't do fun stuff like that anymore.
Can't do fun stuff like that
Gandalf.
anymore. I'm just joshing you, Heiser.
Gandalf.
I mean, I'm not.
Gandalf has sold out.
Oh, if only we could all be so lucky.
I know, serious. All right, next up we have producer Todd P.
Thank you very much, producer Todd P. You are also the man.
Next we have Tristan H.
Tristan H., our other producer on a 10-episode streak, coming in with the show number producership, $3.40. Thank you very much, producer Tristan.
What's the next tier after 9?
Well, it would be 12.
So it is every 3? Just
yeah. We've literally talked about this every episode since we started doing it. It's every 3 is a new level.
I didn't know if there was some kind of exponential thing that enters at a certain point, you know, where after your third 3 it becomes every 4, you know. Always looking for patterns. Have you ever taken those IQ tests, you know, they look for patterns? Anyway.
Yeah, I don't know.
Next up.
My gosh.
Your cat.
I have an emergency. You have to finish this out.
Okay. Do you want me to mute you?
Yeah.
All right, hold on. Let me take care of Baz audio here and video. All right. Next up, we have producer Kim W. Thank you, producer Kim. She comes in with $3.30. No note, but she's on a streak of 2, so the streak is counted. Next, we have producer Cassidy C. And she has a note here. Sorry, all I had at the moment. Don't be sorry. We appreciate any amount here. Keep doing what you do. Thank you very much, producer Cassidy. And I did notice some people come in. You know, I think we're going to... Hold on one second, because somebody came in at the last second here on PayPal, and we'll just include you. Well, maybe we'll just move you to the next episode for time's sake here. So there you go. That's all the producers we have from PayPal. We really appreciate it. It means a lot to us. It means a lot to our families, and it keeps us going. And there are other ways you can support the show with not just your treasure, but with your time and your talent. There are people who support the show with their timestamps or giving us timestamps of the show. And that person for the episode 339, which was the last episode, is producer Rachel C. Thank you, Rachel, for giving us the timestamps. That really helps out, especially on YouTube. People don't want to sit through the whole 3 hours or 2.5 hours or sometimes 4-hour episodes. It's much easier to just find the sections where we go into certain topics. So that's very helpful. And the other way you can support the show is with your talent, and that includes art.
One art, please.
And the first piece of art we have to share is from Allie, who has her own jingle.
One art, please. One art, please. Another one from Allie now. Here it is.
All right, in this piece here, the caption for it, would you like another psychedelic cicada? Don't mind if I do. And it's a drawing of a man in a black hat, like a beanie kind of thing. And he's holding a cicada, and he's about to eat the cicada. And this is in reference to the psychedelic cicadas from episode 339, where apparently some of the cicadas are causing people to... they're filled with psilocybin, and they're tripping out, and it's just a interesting thing going on there. So we appreciate the artwork. This wasn't the only cicada art, so there was another one that came in that referenced it. But there you go. Thank you, Allie. You're on a super crazy hot streak with the artwork, and we really appreciate it. So keep it up. Next up, we have producer Dove, and this piece here, this is great. We did get a note, and I think Basil went back and forth with Dove. It's kind of a cartoon version. It's got a like a pile of photos of Flippy, the colloquial name we have for the robot arm, making out, like kissing a blonde lady, sitting on a couch together, and spooning one another. There's one where the Flippy is holding this woman, and off to the side you can see the folder where these photos came from, confidential. And the note we got from Dove says, "No, curse you, Flippy. Flippy must be stopped." And this is in reference to Flippy flirting with our spouses. And so producer Dove played out his biggest fears, which is Flippy flirting with his wife, and the proof is in the photos. Are you back there? Are you? Yeah, I was gonna say. Oops. We need your video. There we go.
Yeah,
hold on one second.
I'm moving my camera.
Move your stand in.
That was a spooky moment.
You okay? Your cat's okay?
Yeah. So, cat was in the office. Office doors closed, and suddenly, the worst smell I had ever smelled. And I thought that there was a real emergency. After a further examination, I think my cat just farted really bad. It was so bad. It was bad enough that I thought that it was the real deal, but it was not, luckily.
Did you get him something different for food, or what?
I don't know. I have no idea, man. I don't know. I'm in shock, so excuse me. I'm sort of like still in a state of shock. It smelled so bad. I had to take some evasive maneuvers there.
Showstopper.
Yeah. No, it was a showstopper. Freaked me out.
All right. So far we've.
Yeah, I'll. I don't know. We'll check his food or something. But
I was gonna say maybe get him checked out.
Bad.
A little stool sample or something. Yeah. So we thanked Allie and her art. With the cicada eating gentleman. Yes. And then we were on Dove's piece with the confidential photos of Flippy flirting with his wife.
You know what was perfect about this piece, Dove? So Dove sent a note about, anyways, before I read the note, I looked at that. I even emailed back. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is hilarious. Where did you find this? Then I realized that he had done it, and it perfectly represents, without even reading the note, that this was Flippy is having an affair with somebody's wife, and they hired a private investigator and got their heart broken. It was just a perfect representation. So well done, producer Dove. Thank you so much for getting in the habit of sending in some art, and I can't wait to see what comes next.
You know what's really interesting about this art too? There's some top corners of the photos that you can see the letters COMM and maybe I don't know. But it looks like, and it's in red and yellow, which means commie, like communist, right?
Right.
Maybe the robots are communist.
Oh, yeah, the robot's definitely a communist.
And the other thing that's really interesting, on the keyboard, instead of the enter, usually it's like enter, it says space. I don't know if that was on purpose or what, but it's like a secondary space bar.
There's codes.
It's
codes within codes.
Yeah. Thank you for that, producer Dove. Really enjoyed this one. Next up, we have one from producer Debbie, and another very well done. I mean, these look like show posters. This one is of a cicada with a blue, neon green, and pink swirls kind of moving through. Psychedelic transgender snack. Brood X Rising.
No, you didn't say it right. So this is like a movie poster.
Yeah.
2021 just got more bizarre. Brood X Rising. Psychedelic. Transgender. Snack.
Okay.
Beautiful.
There you go.
That's regarding the psilocybin cicadas that are delicious and also trippy.
Yeah. I didn't realize you're supposed to read movie posters from the bottom up. I thought it was...
Yeah. I know you wouldn't understand. It's it's a business thing.
I see. Okay. I guess I'm not cool enough to know. All right. Next up, we got one from producer Christine C. She's our timestamper too, I believe. And she has a note that came with this one. It's it says, "I wanted to share my most recent piece. After completing The Lion, I took a small break, but hope everyone enjoys this one." And it's a canary in, I don't know, like a little sunlight. Matthew 6:22.
Got a little nest there sitting on a tree.
Matthew 6:26. "Look at the birds of the air. They neither sow nor reap nor gather into barns, and yet your heavenly Father feeds them. Are you not more value than they?" So, yeah, there you go.
Very good.
Beautiful piece. Thank you, producer Christine. And next up, we have one from... Oh, I needed to fix this because we dropped some of the ones that we were gonna do. We got one from Jake A. This one here is like I think he said it was a logo. He's a note. "I'm glad you guys got a kick out of the Commie Cry propaganda poster." We did. "I've got to say it was pretty fun making it, considering I don't get to do much graphic design like that anymore. I used to have my own design company a few years back, but my main focus these days is making independent Christian film and TV series." Ooh,
cool. Hey, we got a business partner.
Yeah,
we make it happen.
We have plenty of ideas to
she's got a whole
to put together a thing.
Producers have put together a whole cinematic universe.
Yeah. Anyway, I had an idea for a Canary Cry logo, and I decided to throw it together. Hope y'all like it, but no pressure to use it. I also have an idea to make an 80s version of it. Ooh, an 80s version.
Fun.
P.S. 2 quick random notes. Number 1, personally, I love the film analysis from Basil and would love more from both of you. It deserves its own segment and jingle.
Hey, there we go.
Yeah, film breakdown. That's a good idea. Number 2, I wanted to give a shout out to the late, great Chuck Missler. He wasn't perfect, but he was hugely influential in my spiritual development, and to this day I haven't found anyone with his same lofty view of the scriptures as an integrated message system. Also, he was way ahead of the curve with the Nephilim stuff, and I would attribute my early thirst for knowledge in that area to him. And I'd have to agree. Chuck Missler was, I listened to those, what were they called? They were called like the firefighter tapes or something like that. And I didn't have the cassette tapes. I just had like the bootlegged versions early on. I would believe this sounds ridiculous, but what was it? 2008, 2007, maybe. I would burn Chuck Missler lectures onto audio CD and listen to it in the car. We've come a long way in 10 years.
I know. It's crazy, right?
Yeah.
10 years is entirely different, entirely revamped technology for media consumption, which sounds crazy, but I guess that's sort of how it's always been. About every 10 years that happens.
Yeah, yeah. And the logo here, do you want to give it a go to describe it?
Well, I don't know if you could describe it, but it's a great logo. He's got a great composition, a great eye. It's a circular logo like our current one, but the canary is got his arms spread wide and is sending out the signal from his beak region there. And it's got the font says Canary Cry in orange across the front here. The font is reminiscent of Street Fighter to me. It's like the Street Fighter font, you know. As Canary Cry News Talk, think outside the cage.
It looks
actually really good looking.
Yeah, it's very sleek. I like well, not sleek's not maybe the right word, but it looks like it would go on a coffee mug. I picture that on a coffee mug exactly. So
yeah, I mean it's very good. We've mentioned it before, but we are kind of in the process of revamping a lot of our stuff, and included in that is the logo. And it's interesting, some of the choices he made fit in with some decisions I've been sort of working with recently. So this is good confirmation. And you know what? I like connecting with graphic artists who, I mean, this logo is great. It shows that he's got a good eye. And this is a great logo. If I wasn't already neck deep in working on a new one, I would say, let's just grab this one.
All right.
Save me a lot of time.
Yeah.
But alas, here we are. But thank you very much, Producer Jake.
Thank you, Producer Jake. Next up, we have Producer Jay Vella coming in with Hack City. I'll let
Real quick, before you go into this, I do want to give a shout out to Marie B over in the YouTube chat who says farts are just peaceful protests, which is hilarious. But I got to tell you, this one chose violence. This was like, the reporter talking about peaceful protests, and in the background, the police station's on fire. That's what this cat did to my life. I've never had to stop a show like that because something so violent.
I'm proud of you for not reacting more vocally. You know, because for me, I would react differently. I'd do the sniff thing and oh, what is that? You know, I start yelling. You had a calm. I have to step away for a moment.
I'm very good with emergency situations, and I went into full emergency mode. I'm like, no. It's gonna be. I have something called Terminator mode. I've told you about Terminator mode.
You have told me about Terminator mode,
Certain things happen in life that require Terminator mode. And that's just when you go into a cold, calculating, robotic problem-solving mode, and no room for emotion, no room for second thoughts. You are the T-800 marching down the street. And I just had to go into Terminator mode. That's how bad the fart was.
Okay. Very good. Good to know. All right, so we got this piece from Jay Vella here, our Denver airport muralist.
Yes. It's kind of small on my end here, so you might have to go through.
You can click on it, I think.
Can I?
Yeah, in the dock. Yeah, there's a way to click on it, and it should...
Oh. Something just happened. Okay. We're trying something new on the back end here, folks, so excuse us for a second. Okay. Jay Vella, that's right, our resident Denver airport artist, has sent another mural here. We've got in the top left, Hack City. Nice little scene here of a hacker with all his screens, obviously doing something geopolitically relevant. Right below that is the Jack in the Box. Not Jack in the Box like the restaurant, but, a Jack in the Box. Which, some symbolism there. These hacks can pop out of nowhere, maybe. Below that, we've got two angels pulling back a red curtain, and a man with top hats revealing what looks to be an apocalyptic scene. You've got cars on fire, buildings on fire, perhaps a cat farted, or it's a riot in the streets. Up in the middle.
It's prophetic. He knew about the cat fart beforehand.
Up in the middle here, we've got some more of these reminiscent, these hooded angel-type figures. I think these are the we've got the one with the brain in a jar, with his hands outstretched, controlling marionettes of what looks to be the Pope and a Jewish figure there. Only the what is that word?
Anacrusis. I think in the chat he says he misspelled it.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, let me look for that here.
Anacrusis. Maybe once you find
Anacrusis, Anacrusis. He says he misspelled it Ani, but yeah.
Only the Anacrusis. The main event remains. Below that is a little bomb.
Mm-hmm.
In the top right, we've got some angels singing "Whoa, whoa, whoa," and a lady there with a pregnant belly. We've got a forest fire and some dead fish in a lake on the left. Down below that, we've got some demon figures with seems to be golden cords around their wrists there. They are bound, and it looks like we've got the multi-headed beast with a meteor coming down, crashing down. What is that, the moon? What is that thing?
I think it's probably
the moon crying out?
No. Oh, the moon. Oh, yeah, well, yeah, the moon crying, yeah, looks like... Yeah, this whole scene is from the Book of Revelation here. You got the four angels, they're loose in the river Euphrates.
On the right, yes, the scroll reads, "Loose the four angels which are bound in the great river Euphrates." And below that, it looks like we've got some top-hatted figures there, one covering one eye, one doing the shush, and one pointing at some text that says, "One more song to go." That's right. We're almost at the final song, folks. And Jay Vela, thank you so much for sending in the art.
Yeah, thank you for that. We appreciate it. Wormwood. That's what I was trying to think of. Yes, Wormwood. All right. We got one more piece here from Josiah.
Okay.
And this piece is the new anti-child abuse logo for Catholics.
Okay.
From the story of...
Regarding our last episode.
Yeah, of the Pope
got the
praising.
Going around in a circle inside is the isn't that an actual logo? The priest sort of human figure with the child there. I think that was one of the logos for some organization trying to protect children.
Maybe. I don't know. I'm not familiar.
Catholic organization.
I'm not familiar.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Thank you very much. Well, now send this off to the Vatican. They got their new Protect Children logo.
Yeah.
I'm sure it'll inspire confidence.
Oh, it has the Ouroboros. Perfect. Yeah. All right. We got some, I guess, a review or two to read, and then we'll get back to the show here.
That's right. Almost ready, folks. And I said before that we are dedicating this producer segment to the moms, the Canary Cry moms. And that's partly because of a message I got from producer Mary, who's from Patreon. And they sent a note. Basil and Gons, I started listening to Face Like the Sun back in 2012. Hard to believe it's been that long. During all these years, we've had a total of 5 children, and I became a stay-at-home mom. I feel really old because I don't know how to get on a podcast to leave a review. I will be 40 this year and am so out of touch with technology. I did IT for a company 10 years ago and was very good at it, but so much has changed. Yeah, we just talked about that. And the hip lingo, I use Urban Dictionary to decipher. Hey, you and me both, sister. My kids make fun of me repeatedly. I do love your show, and after all these years of reaping the benefits of all your hard work, especially the documentaries and interviews, we finally started contributing through Patreon. Better late than never, I guess. Things I'd say in a review. Love the humor used to report the egregious news. Love the truth that's presented even when it's inconvenient, which it rarely seems to be. And I truly love how God's word is always referred back to. I found your channel because back in 2012, I YouTube searched Baptists that don't believe in the pre-trib rapture, and found Face Like the Sun. I'm a long way from a Baptist now. I've learned so much and come so far in God's word. Thank you for being a modern-day John the Baptist and being a voice in the wilderness of chaos. I feel like you guys are my brothers. Keep up the awesome work. Well, thank you very much, Sister Mary.
Thank you, Mary.
And no worries on the review. It's just, you could, you can Google it if you need any more instructions. But I do want to read an official review that came by, and we'll check the charts here for the producers. We had one review come in since last Friday, so it's a little light on reviews, but
we'll take
that's
it.
Okay. We'll take it. One review, this comes from Evil Queen 86. Evil Queen. Great podcast, 5 stars. And it reads like this. As a pagan that grew up Catholic, I love this show. They read the news unbiasedly. I enjoy hearing about Flippy, those dang Polyticks, and of course, Basil's cat. Keep up the great work. As a pagan who grew up Catholic. So is this another, we got another pagan listening to the show.
Interesting.
That's the thing when you just tell the truth, people connect with it, even if they're not in the same spiritual creek as we are, huh?
Yeah, that's really interesting. I think that might be one of the first non-believers. Is the second pagan?
Second non-Christian to leave a review. So there's a movement of the unbelievers coming and listening to the show. Well, welcome. We're glad you're here, and we hope you keep listening.
Yeah, definitely.
So that's it for the reviews. And remember, folks, you can also leave a review. It's very helpful. I know it sounds like a pain in the butt and it doesn't sound important, but I'm telling you, from our side of things, it is very important. Having a steady stream of those ratings and reviews coming in on Apple Podcasts tricks those algorithms into sharing the show with people. So maybe you don't have a lot of people in your life who you share the show with directly, but if you leave a rating and a review, who knows, yours could be the one that activates the algorithms for that week to go out and spread the word. So please consider doing it. It takes 2 minutes. Head on over to Apple Podcasts, search for Canary Cry News Talk, leave a rating and a review. It means a lot to us, and thank you, Evil Queen 86, for the review. What else was I going to say here? Oh, I had this weird pop-up. Oh, there we go. Oh, charts. Let's do some charts.
Okay.
So fun charts this week, Gons. We hit top 100 across the world here. Excitingly, we're number 98 in news commentary in the United States of America. Always exciting because, of course, the American charts are the most competitive for us, at least. So there we go. Thank you to producers. Listen up, producers, because this is thanks to you. Number 94 over in Australia, news commentary. That's good.
All right.
Number 46 in New Zealand. All right. Okay.
Before you move on from Australia real quick, you know how you look up what was the song that was the hit song of the day you were born? Do you know what I'm talking about? You can look up. Yeah, people do that to use the internet.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You basically look up what song was number one on the charts.
Looking up the song,
yeah. Well, mine happens to be Men at Work, Down Under.
That's fun.
Yeah, so there you go. It's
okay.
Australian.
There you go.
Yeah.
So it's Aussies. Thanks for listening.
Yeah.
Number 84 in Finland.
Fun.
Yeah. Number 33 in Romania.
Ooh, those Romanians.
The Illuminati shills over in Romania.
Just the whole country.
Yeah, thank you very much for listening, Romania. And, we're number 33 in news commentary in Romania. Oh, but yeah. Let's see here. Not to be outdone, we got our diversity charts here. They're just on the regular charts. We're number 60 in Nigeria. Number 49 in Jamaica.
Nice.
Number 24 in Uganda.
Wow.
And number 5 in Anguilla.
Anguilla. Not Angola.
Not Angola, Anguilla, which is a island in the Caribbean. It's got about 15,000 people living there. So, that's cool. We're number 5 in news commentary, which is fun. But we're also number 12 in news, just straight up news, which that's intense. I mean, news commentary is one thing, but in actual news. Now, this week we moved down 4 spaces in the Anguilla charts, which means last week we were number 1 in Anguilla news commentary. So I don't know what's going on in Anguilla, but thanks for tuning in. Hey, if you want to know who beat us out this last week.
Oh, in Anguilla?
In Anguilla.
Okay, let's find out. Because I'm looking at pictures of Anguilla, and my goodness, this is like a paradise.
Oh, yeah. No, it's a
beautiful
it's an island paradise.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know anything else about Anguilla. So
I don't either.
There's I don't know if it's ruled by a warlord or something, but whatever's going on in Anguilla, it looks beautiful. Number 1 over Anguilla is the Megyn Kelly show. So Megyn Kelly beat us out.
Yeah.
Some guy named Dan Bongino.
Yeah.
Bongino, you know that guy?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, he beat us out. Ted Broer.
I don't know who that is.
Trey Gowdy from Fox News.
Hey, Trey Gowdy. Wasn't he, he was what, in the Senate? I can't remember what he was.
I forget. So it goes, the Megyn Kelly show, the Dan Bongino show, Ted Broer show, Trey Gowdy podcast, Canary Cry News Talk. But to show who we beat out, number 6 was Michael Savage.
Wow.
Let's see, Michael Knowles from the Daily Wire.
Oh, yeah.
7.
Yeah.
Glenn Beck. We beat you, Glenn Beck.
We beat Glenn Beck. Wow.
Yeah. There's a bunch of people here I don't really know.
Cool. Well,
yeah. So Anguilla, thanks for the listens, y'all.
All those operations, most of them anyway, have big production teams, so they might be looking at the Anguilla charts going, hey, wait a minute.
Oh, yeah.
Who are these
Trey
Canary
Gowdy.
Cried News Talk cats?
Yeah, right. Trey Gowdy's got the full force of Fox News behind him.
Oh, so, wow. Yeah, well, we're really coming after you, Murdoch.
All right, so that's all the fun stuff for the charts today.
Cool. Well, yeah, your producership is helping us make the charts, competing against all these great other news outlets.
Thanks to our producers that at least last week we were beating out Megyn Kelly and Trey Gowdy.
Yeah, wow. Beating Megyn Kelly. That's pretty gnarly.
I know. Now, there's 15,000 people who live in Anguilla, so who knows? It may have been some people on vacation or something tuning in, but either way, we appreciate it.
Cool.
Yes, it's wake-up time.
Hey, yo, wake up.
It's Latin for many.
Tick.
Now suck your blood. Now suck
Politics.
Your blood.
We're going to start with APnews.com. AP fact check. Hyperbole from Biden.
Got hairy legs. Got hairy legs.
And GOP on state of economy. I always like it when AP does fact checks.
Mm-hmm.
President Joe Biden and House Republicans alike are revising history when asserting that the new administration set records in U.S. job creation, either the best ever or among the worst, depending on the vantage point. The truth is in between. While jobs are steadily being added as the nation digs out from the coronavirus pandemic, the pace is far from being number 1 among presidents, as Biden describes it. But neither is it the worst in decades, as Representative Elise Stefanik, the newly elected number 3 leader of House Republicans, asserted twice in recent days. Now look at the claims. So, it's interesting where they're like, where they have to debunk something Biden said, they also have to throw in something a Republican said to, try to balance it out, try to make it seem like it's legit. So taking a look at the claims here, Biden, quote, as a result of our prompt action to roll out the vaccine and boost the economy, we've gone from stagnation to an economy that is growing faster than it has in nearly 40 years. We've gone from anemic job creation to a record of creation for more. For a new administration, none has ever created this many jobs in this time frame, end quote, remarks Monday. The facts, not so fast. He's created the most jobs in the first 3 months than any other president, about 1.5 million, but that's partly because the U.S. population is larger than in the past. So statistical manipulation. Mm-hmm. When calculated as a percentage of the workforce, job growth under President Jimmy Carter increased more quickly from February through April 1977 than the same 3 months this year. Since the late 1970s, the U.S. population has grown more than 100 million people. In ignoring that, Biden picked up on a trait of his predecessor, Donald Trump, who bragged that the U.S. had the largest workforce ever under his presidency and glossed over the simple fact that there are far more people. Okay.
I was going to say, this sounds like a very Trumpian claim.
It does.
You know, it's the best. I did the best anybody's ever done. I'm the best one. Love me. Please love me.
It's true, though, that the economy is growing rapidly. Is it, or are they just printing money out the wazoo? It expanded at a 6.4% annual rate in the first 3 months of the year and is expected to grow this year at the fastest pace since 1984. Biden's $1.9 trillion rescue package contributed to the vigorous growth, but much of the expansion reflects a broader bounce back from the unusually sharp pandemic recession, the deepest downturn since the 1930s. Even before Biden's package, for example, the International Monetary Fund was projecting U.S. growth of over 5% for this year. Biden is also ignoring a disappointing jobs reports from April, where just 266,000 jobs were gained, far fewer than expected. At that pace, it would take more than 2 years to regain the 8 million jobs that are still lost to the pandemic. So there you go. I mean,
yeah.
You know, throw Biden under the bus, but also compare him to Trump where deemed appropriate for AP.
Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty harsh move. Comparing somebody to Trump is like the worst offense you could possibly pay somebody.
Yeah.
And so for AP coming out, you know, we got a lot of people not a lot. I saw somebody saying AP is a totally trash source, which here's the thing. AP is not just a reporting, is not just a news network. I mean, AP provides stories for companies, news stations all over the world, so they're incredibly widely read.
It's influential, I would say.
Very influential, possibly. So, you know, AP is it's like the news that other news reads to do the news.
During the election, especially this year, it was really apparent that, like, AP concluded it's all, you know, whatever state went Biden or Trump or whatever. It's like they were all waiting for AP to confirm, and it was like, who made AP the boss of everything? But anyway.
That's just sort of who they are. Associated Press, they do the AP Newswire, which, you know, news stations all over the world, they'll just take news from the AP Newswire. It's like a syndicated news, kind of.
Yeah, AP, the Antichrist Press. Stefanik, this is a Stefanik section of it now. Yeah. Quote, do we care? Do we just skip it?
You know, not really. I mean, it's just kind of the balancing thing. They call Biden Trumpian, and then so they spend the second half of the article just fact-checking Republicans, which is fine, but it's, you know, I don't know. Our point is not necessarily the actual facts behind this. It's that the AP is turning on Biden and calling him Trumpian, which is just, again, the worst thing you could call Biden in today's secular news media.
Yeah. Well, there you go. It's always interesting to track what these highly influential news agencies will do to fact check Biden, who's in their wheelhouse. You know, they like Biden, so if they have to fact check him, how do they do it? Because if it was fact checking Trump, it would just be a scathing. The whole time it would be like, oh, it's just wrong, it's horrible, it's just violent. Mm-hmm. something he said that's wrong is somehow violent.
It's racist.
Yeah, it's racist and violent.
The best jobs growth, and then they'd have been like, that's racist.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I have something here to bring to you. It's a little bit of Chinese news.
Ooh, Chinese news.
Welcome to Chinese News!
Okay, so this is coming from MSN, but it's a mirrored article from Time magazine. The headline is How China is Cracking Down on Its Once Untouchable Tech Titans. Now, we've been following the trends in China, and most recently, we reported on some of the earlier signs that China was sort of deconstructing its corporate structures, which was very strange because usually, the Chinese Communist Party, you don't get to be a big business in China without basically control of the Communist Party. This is well known. This is not conspiracy theory. They have, the HR department, the accounting department, and the CCP department, where the political party has their hands in every business, especially big businesses. But we've seen sort of a deconstruction of this system, or at least some big moves as far as monopoly busting goes in China, and we've sort of speculated as to why that might be, but let's get an update. The article reads like this. For years, China's tech entrepreneurs were considered rock stars, icons whose rags to riches career paths, guile, and contempt for the rule book earned them cult-like status. But over the past few months, regulatory scrutiny combined with growing anger at their obscene wealth accumulated on the backs of downtrodden workers is wobbling the perch of these previously untouchable tycoons in the communist-ruled state. One high-profile casualty has been Alibaba founder Jack Ma, who in October publicly chided Chinese officials for a lack of imagination and, quote, pawn shop mentality, prompting their leader, President Xi Jinping, to torpedo the planned record $37 billion public listing of Alibaba's fintech arm, Ant Group. It was subsequently ordered to restructure. In April, Alibaba was fined $2.8 billion for breaching anti-monopoly rules. Quote, "It is not lost on us that today's society has new expectations for platform companies, as we must assume more responsibilities as part of the nation's economic and social development," Alibaba wrote in a statement following the fine. For those...
Go ahead.
Well, if you need just a quick review, Alibaba is China's version of Amazon. So if you want to sort of compare the power of this statement, or the power, it would be as if, could you imagine Biden breaking up Amazon as a company, or the trust busting Amazon? It's almost unthinkable, but that's what they did in China.
Yeah, the reason why I was laughing is because China has an anti-monopoly rule.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, they can probably waive that thing when
communist dictatorship has an anti-monopoly rule.
They can probably waive that thing whenever the company decides to do something out of favor. They can just wheel out the anti-monopoly rule and then throw it at them and, dismantle them.
Well, right. We're going to go into that because that's what's been so weird. That's why we started looking at this. Tensions between Ma, once China's richest man, and officials might have catalyzed regulators, but the wheels of a harsh new regulatory regime were already gathering pace. In early March, the community group buying services of food delivery company Meituan, e-commerce giant Pinduoduo, ride-hailing service Didi Zhuxing, and Alibaba-backed Nicetuan were each fined 1.5 million yuan, that's $200,000, for unfair competition practices. Then, last month, China's chief antitrust watchdog published remarkably similar statements from 12 top tech companies in the country, expressing that they committed to avoiding engaging in anti-competitive behavior. So there's a first clue right there, that 12 of these companies put out basically the exact same statement. That statement was obviously written by the CCP officers within those companies. What's clear is that the playing field for China's tech sector is undergoing a sweeping re-leveling. Critics say the tech industry had, in the pursuit of growth at all costs, coalesced behind a few monopolistic giants, while crowding out true competition and innovation. China is not the only country grappling with antitrust issues. The U.S. is engaged in its own debate with big tech. But a key distinction in China is that e-commerce counts for a much larger proportion of overall retail than the U.S., meaning market dominance greater impacts both customers and the overall economy. Today, new rules are fast emerging for China's wealthiest tycoons. Don't publicly criticize the party. Keep a low profile, give workers a fair shake, and make state priorities your priorities. Quote, "It's really significant and could have a major impact," says Rebecca Fannin, author of Tech Titans of China. Quote, "These companies had been allowed to flourish without a lot of scrutiny. This crackdown could be just the beginning." Then it goes into, let's see here, the social responsibilities of these companies. Kind of goes into some of the minutia of what these companies do. But it all sort of shakes out to be that, monopolistic practices is too centralized of a power. And you have the leaders of these companies starting to get a little bit too big for their britches, really. And the government doesn't like that. So on one hand, what we have here is the Communist Party of China basically breaking apart the non-governmental power centers, which is a pretty standard practice for communist regimes. Now, in the past, when it comes to like the USSR, they would not just break apart the company, but they would nationalize the company. And that's something that we haven't quite seen in China yet. But maybe they learned some lessons from the USSR, that that's not really the best way to do it. And let's see here. Let me go down. There's a section here titled Heads Down. Even before Jack Ma was cut down to size, the title of China's wealthiest tycoon appeared a poisoned chalice. Wang Jianlin, the flashy founder of commercial real estate conglomerate Dalian Wanda, was China's richest person in 2016 before the government forced him to divest overseas assets. Then came Hua Kanyan, China's richest in 2017, whose China Evergrande Group real estate firm was ordered to cut back on debt after falling short of tightened rules on corporate leverage. In fact, becoming top dog is so fraught that many observers suspect that Colin Huang, founder of e-commerce firm Pinduoduo, purposefully divested company stock last year to avoid becoming the richest, the country's wealthiest individual. Yeah, every time somebody becomes the richest individual, they get cut down by the government. So this guy just cut himself down. Huang controlled 43.3% of Pinduoduo shares, but suddenly reduced his stake to 29.4%, according to a June 30 regulatory filing. Even at today's share price down 40% in its mid-February peak, Huang's prior stake in Pinduoduo would have put his net worth at $62.5 billion, and installed him above bottled water tycoon Zhang Zhanshan at the top of China's rich list. In March, Huang quit the 6-year-old company altogether and is instead turning his attention to life sciences research aimed at boosting rural agriculture. Quote, "Keep a lower profile seems to make sense these days," said Fannin. And it goes into some other guys doing some other stuff. Talk about that guy going into agricultural work.
There's a segment that talks about China's notorious 996, which is a 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. 6 days a week work culture.
I was just about to go into that section here. Let me start one paragraph before that.
Okay.
The Chinese Communist Party's drive for greater regulation dovetails with growing public dissatisfaction with income disparity and the immense wealth tycoons accumulate in what remains, in name at least, a socialist state. China today produces billionaires faster than any other country on earth. Its capital, Beijing, boasts more millionaires than any other world city. The pandemic has proved to be a boon, with China's billionaires' wealth swelling by $1.94 trillion, not least among tech bosses whose business models are often well suited to lockdown conditions. So they moved into this position over the last year that they are sort of becoming the richest country. I mean, their richest individuals gained 1.94 trillion, which is more than the U.S. Richest individuals got. You know, the U.S. Elites, I believe they made 1.2 trillion, which means Chinese wealthy people made almost $1 trillion more than American billionaires, which is the first time in history that this has ever happened, or at least modern history. So the wealth inequality over there was just skyrocketing in a similar way that it's been going on here. Now, to get to where you were, Huang's departure from Pinduoduo came just as the death of a worker at the firm reignited fierce debate about China's notorious 996, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., 6 days a week. Work culture, which almost every Chinese tech tycoon has defended. One woman collapsed and died after finishing work at 1:30 a.m. Another worker killed himself on a visit to his parents. One employee claims he was fired for raising concerns about overwork. Pinduoduo did not respond to requests for comment from Time, but has said in statements that employees would be offered psychological counseling. The controversy led China Central Television to cancel a partnership with the company for its Spring Festival Gala, the world's most watched television show. So you've got sort of this like a movement of the people, and what it is, it's a populist movement happening in China. So on one hand, you have the government breaking apart power centers that, these are capitalist power centers, these businesses. They work on capitalist principles, even though, they're working under the thumb of the government.
Right.
But you have this populist uprising, much how we had the populist uprising in Hong Kong during the Hong Kong protests. And we knew all about that here because it's a little easier to get news out of Hong Kong. But it's almost impossible to get sort of boots on the ground reports coming out of China. But this makes it very clear that the people of China, not the Chinese Communist Party, but the individual people of China seem to be, the hens are getting restless in the coop and breaking apart these monopolies, and especially having it described in Time magazine as the tall poppy syndrome. If you become the richest person, they're gonna take you down. Moving against these big corporations in ways that the United States does refuse to do. I mean, we don't do these sorts of things, mainly because the government just doesn't have the power to do it. But in the Chinese Communist Party, what they say goes. And so I don't know, man. Things are getting restless over there, and the Chinese Communist Party is responding by breaking apart capitalist power centers I would say under the guise, or at least in tandem with, a populist movement against the inequality. They make it sound like, oh, look at China. They're doing a great job breaking apart monopolies. But you can imagine in the halls of the CCP, it's, oh my gosh, these agricultural workers and factory workers are going to burn down the entire country if we don't level things out a little bit here.
Yeah, it's interesting, especially because China's wealth came with them accepting like a form of capitalism in business, although they had a tight rein on it. But it seemed like with a lot of the tech boom, they sort of allowed not exactly a free market. It was a chosen market.
Well, they did what they needed to do to extract wealth from the Western nations. Which
yes, they did do that. But within the country, they allowed a lot of development. There was a soaring progress. When you look at the poverty levels in China from like 30 or 40 years ago to now, it's greatly decreased. But, in exchange, you have kind of like the industrialization in the West in the early 1900s. It's similar, where it's like, oh, it's great. We're modernizing the world. But in the meantime, you're like abandoning basic human rights to do it. And then these tech giants...
It's like the days of the robber barons in the U.S.
That's like exactly.
They're catching up to that time when that was really sort of the last time we did any sort of monopoly busting antitrust stuff. Just to remind people, that hasn't happened in the U.S. since for at least 20 years. I believe it was around the year 2000. They tried some anti-monopoly stuff on Microsoft and failed. But yeah, the idea of deconstructing these power centers of business is almost an impossible thing to imagine in the U.S., but China's doing their thing.
And also, you have to keep in mind, China is getting ready to, and we've mentioned this several times, we almost mention it every time we talk about the economy in China and politics. They're getting ready to release the digital yuan, the CBDC, the central bank digital currency. Yeah. And that means that all of the financial or the monetary infrastructure that supports these tech titans is going to be under the thumb of the CCP or under the surveillance of the CCP. And that could be another reason why they're shaking things up to, because I wouldn't think I'd imagine that some of the tech titans now are against some of the more invasive types of monetary technology that the CCP is planning, in principle, because it's Western money that really made him rich. It's not. Right. It's not because the yuan is so great. It's because the West invested a ton of money into all these companies. So for them to all of a sudden have to switch from just taking all the money from America or the West in general to, hey, we have to bow down to the CCP. I think they're going to be against that in principle, or maybe not entirely, but a lot of them would be. And maybe that's another reason why they're just, hey, if you get to the top, we're going to chop you down. Make sure people know that we're still in charge here. And that's, the CCP talking.
Yeah, well, that's the idea. I mean, there's no individual higher than the state. And so, like we saw with Jack Ma, if you criticize the state, you'd kind of just disappear for a little bit and you come back and you have a whole new attitude.
The disappearing thing, just as a side note and bringing it back to the States here, where's Kamala Harris? Have you seen?
A good point.
What is she doing?
I've seen a lot from her recently.
She's not been in the public light or anything really, so it makes me suspicious of what's going on over there in the White House.
Good. I didn't really think about it until now.
Yeah.
Have you Googled?
No, I haven't. I haven't. Where is Kamala Harris? Where in the world is Kamala Harris?
Where are you, Kamala?
Okay, so along those same lines here with the China story, which is an important story here. Here's an article from protocol.com. Lawmakers want to force big tech to give researchers more data. And I won't read the whole thing because it's not too long, actually. It says here, Facebook's ad library allows researchers to see the content of ads that run on the platform and information on who those ads reach. But there's one key insight Facebook doesn't offer: information on how those ads were targeted. A new bill being introduced Thursday by 2 House Democrats could change that. The Social Media Data Act, introduced by Representatives Lori Trahan and Kathy Castor, would force large platforms like Facebook and Google to give researchers and the Federal Trade Commission access to more detailed ad libraries. Those libraries would include, among other things, a description of the audience that was targeted, information about how many people interacted with the ad, and details about whether the ad was optimized for awareness, traffic, or some other purpose. Quote, the Social Media Data Act will help shine a long overdue light on all of the impacts ad targeting has on consumers, not just the rosy picture painted by companies focused on their bottom line, Trahan said in a statement. Researchers say ad targeting data is crucial to understanding advertisers' intent. A housing ad, for example, may seem innocuous until you realize its target audience excludes black viewers or users in a zip code where most residents are black. Really pushing the race thing. But right now, even on Facebook, which has the most robust ad archive of any platform, the only way to see a given ad's targeting data is if you've been served the ads yourself. Facebook argues the policy protects users from bad actors who might try to reverse engineer those users' interests by collecting targeted data en masse. But the policy also means the growing number of researchers interested in studying digital advertising have to build workarounds, often without Facebook's consent. The company recently tried to shut down a project spearheaded by academics at New York University who use a browser extension to scrape political ads users see and then collect and publish targeting data from those ads. Facebook says that activity violates its policies against scraping, a legally murky practice that's currently being debated in U.S. courts. The Social Media Data Act would ensure that researchers like the ones at NYU could have access to this information without putting themselves in legal jeopardy. It would also require platforms to maintain databases of this information, currently doing so is voluntary, and ensure the platforms' database are searchable and machine-readable. Large ad platforms with more than 100 million monthly active users would be required to give researchers affiliated with academic institutions access to these databases, which would include ads from any advertiser spending more than $500 a year on the platform. The bill also establishes a working group within the Federal Trade Commission that would develop a set of best practices around social media research. The group would help address the risks, often cited by social platforms, that even academics sometimes abuse user data, as was the case in the Cambridge Analytica scandal. Facebook has been publishing, quote, transparency as the regulatory solution to many of the debates in Washington around content moderation and digital advertising. The company has taken some steps to limit targeting of certain ads to sensitive groups, such as race or religion, but that hasn't always worked, as evidenced by a recent investigation in the markup. Oh, it just keeps going here.
Do they have anything about the DNA services?
DNA, or like the
23andMe?
It doesn't mention that here, but it says on the because it's specifically social media. It's not all companies.
Right.
Last paragraph here: privacy and competition are among the reasons why Social Media Data Act would restrict this information to researchers and the FTC only. The U.S. is not alone in considering such a carve-out for academics either. In Europe, the Digital Services Act would also give researchers access to data from very large platforms that would otherwise be protected under the General Data Protection Regulation. The European,
know what?
Yeah.
This is similar. So, I'm sorry, I was talking about the European thing, but this is a similar trend to the China story, in that this is the government trying to take control of a commodity that is being created by private companies.
Yeah.
So you have private companies like Facebook and everybody getting data. And correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like the simple version of this is that the government wants to control that and not let the private companies control it.
Well, it's not exactly the government, but because we live in a democratic republic and not a communist party in the United States, the government just can't come in and be like, all right, break it up, like they did in China, or chop off the top guy. But if they allow the Federal Trade Commission and academics access to certain, back-end information, then they can become the expositors. They can expose the corruption, and then it'll become a public thing, and then there'll be it's more social engineering, really. The CCP is blunt force. This is social engineering, where it's like, okay, we can't take you down, outright. But if we allow this Social Media Data Act to exist, then we can send in researchers to extract the data, see the kind of manipulation that's happening, make a big New York Times story out of it. Then the people will be outraged to shut down Facebook or change Facebook leadership or whatever it is. And so it's way more covert, or what's the word I'm looking for? Covert in the way they approach the dismantling of a monopoly.
It's taking out a middleman of because right now the tech companies sell this data to researchers, and they sell it to the government, and they sell it. This is basically basically a law under the guise of like social justice and public health, to get all of our data for free and not having to pay Facebook
research purposes, quote unquote.
So it's not necessarily any better for us. It's just saving the government money and buying our data.
Yeah, and the data that places like Facebook sells, they don't sell people everything. They sell people, specific things.
Right.
Whereas this would kind of open the floodgates to everything that's going on in the back end.
Oh, great.
And sounds like fun.
It's interesting. It's just another way that our data is being devalued.
Yeah.
Because big tech, big data being the new oil, as we've heard so many times in our fourth industrial revolution here. This is basically nationalizing a utility or a public resource, not public, but you know what I mean, like something like oil or water or whatever. It's giving government and they say researchers, but they're government researchers or researchers that the government
approves or funds. Yeah.
Right. And so, it's just a way of, and in a sense, we all got so outraged that all our data, it's worth, what is it, $12 a person, because it is sold, a couple dozen times every year.
Yeah.
But now, the government being one of the biggest payers for this big data, if they don't have to pay for it and it's just in the law, they get it for free. That makes all the spying, all the privacy concerns, it just makes it more insulting. It's not even worth as much as it used to be.
Yeah.
And it just goes straight to the government. Great.
Yeah, worth less but worth more in control currency, like government control currency.
Interesting.
All right. Why don't you take this one real quick? Trying to keep it a little shorter today, but there's a story here from the...
We almost did it on the first half, but we dragged it out a little bit.
I know.
Yes, this is coming from NBCPhiladelphia.com. The headline, Pennsylvania voters become first in the U.S. to impose new limits on governors' powers. Ooh, yay. I love this.
This is the way.
Pennsylvania voters became the first in the nation to curb their governor's emergency powers, approving constitutional amendments proposed by Republican lawmakers angry over Democratic Governor Tom Wolf's handling of the COVID-19 outbreak. Interesting. They said outbreak and not pandemic. The vote on Tuesday's statewide primary ballot came as Republican lawmakers across the country have sought to roll back the emergency powers governors wielded during the COVID-19 pandemic. Oh, there it is. Republicans see the referendum as a victory with strong political overtones as the state gears up for a wide-open governor's race in 2022 and Wolf leaving office after 2 terms. Republicans in the state legislature and those aiming to replace him in 2023 have made Wolf their top political target, repeatedly attacking his stewardship during the pandemic, including his orders shuttering businesses, sending students home for online schooling, and ordering masks worn outside the home. Quote, last night, Pennsylvanians voted to reject Democrat Governor Tom Wolf's overreach of executive powers after his failed COVID response, clear sign of accountability coming in 2022. Republican National Committee Chair Rona McDaniel tweeted Wednesday morning. The two questions led with almost 54% of the vote, with 75% of precincts reporting more than 2 million ballots were cast, still less than a quarter of the state's 8.7 million registered voters. They got the little polls there. Let's see, Wolf had opposed them, but has no say in what proposals lawmakers put on the ballots to amend the state constitution. History was on Republicans' side. The last time voters rejected a ballot question was in 1993, according to information provided by the state. The amendments cannot take effect until the state certifies the election result, which could take until early June. In the meantime, the governor's emergency disaster declaration for the pandemic was set to expire midnight Thursday. That was last night, the governor's office said. That raised the question of whether Wolf will renew it. His office was silent about it Wednesday. The questions asked voters to end a governor's emergency disaster declaration after 21 days and to give lawmakers the sole authority to extend it or end it at any time with a simple majority vote. Before Tuesday, the Constitution required 2/3 majority vote by lawmakers to end a governor's disaster declaration, and legally, the governor could issue an emergency declaration for up to 90 days and extend it without limit. Wolf and his emergency disaster director have called the proposals reckless and a threat to functioning society that could prevent a fast and wide-ranging response to increasingly complicated disasters.
I love how
like a true despot.
I was gonna say the governors, just politicians in general, they'll just say anything. You know, it's like, man,
society will fall into chaos if I don't have full control, full dictatorial control. It's so funny. This guy's a Democrat, but again, this is more dictatorial than anything Trump ever tried to do.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's wacko. Anyways, good job, Pennsylvanians.
Yeah, they say that the whole thing might end up in court, but that's because
who's gonna fight it?
I don't know.
That's crazy. They win by that much of a majority. It would be suicide to fight that.
Yeah, well, some of these politicians, they'll die on whatever hill.
All right.
Okay, well, bringing it home to where I am at in California.
It's Newsome science, baby! Ha!
I told you, Basil, that there's a guy named Kevin, Meet Kevin, who's running for governor of California.
Uh-huh.
I'm telling you, man, this guy's ideas, I like his ideas.
Wishful thinking that he might scoot past Jenner.
I don't know. Okay, this is FoxNews.com. Newsom challenger calls embattled gov a weenie baby.
Weenie baby.
Post briefly removed from Instagram.
Is this guy a Trump supporter?
No, he's running as a Democrat.
Interesting.
Yeah. An outsider California Democrat looking to run to replace Governor Gavin Newsom, should the recall effort against him succeed, says he had a post taken down by Instagram after he suggested the incumbent might be a, quote, weenie baby.
Censor him.
It gets better. The elementary school rank out generated tens of thousands of likes and hundreds of shares, said Kevin Paffrath, a California real estate agent and social media personality known as Meet Kevin. In the post, he declared his intent to run for governor, and it was his most successful Instagram message to date, he told Fox News Wednesday. But then it went down, he said, and he received notification claiming it violated Instagram's harassment guidelines. Those guidelines state that content cannot target, quote, private individuals to degrade or shame them, cannot include identifying personal information, and cannot contain intimate images or threats to post such content. Oh, yeah.
He was bullying.
Quote, this is like 3-year-old language here. I mean, weenie baby, Paffrath said in a YouTube video following the deletion. Harassment and bullying? Question mark. Hours after Fox News inquired about the missing post, a spokesperson for Facebook, which owns Instagram, said it had been removed erroneously and that it was restored once the error became apparent. It was visible on Paffrath's feed as of Wednesday evening. and an identical post on his Facebook page had not been taken down to begin with. Initially, Paffrath said he suspected the social media giant's donations of tens of millions of dollars to Newsom causes played a role in the removal of his post, singular. But the California-based Facebook noted those funds went to coronavirus relief for healthcare workers and small businesses and not to the governor's campaign coffers.
Wow.
Quote, "This was part of our broader pandemic relief support, both nationally and around the world, which has increased free ads for health authorities to get accurate information to people and grants to small businesses," a Facebook company spokesperson said. Newsom's office declined to comment. When told the post had been reactivated, Paffrath expressed surprise and said he had not been notified. Quote, "As soon as the truth gets out, things clean up," he said. "And that's pretty much the theme of what I want to do as governor as well. Everything will be transparent through social media and YouTube, so the shady stuff's got to get cleaned up, and that's the only way it starts." Paffrath, a self-described underdog D Democrat, accused Newsom of failing to behave as a leader as the state faces ongoing crisis in homelessness, housing, transportation, and education. As rules and regulations get tighter and rents and taxes climb, workers and businesses alike are leaving the Golden State in unprecedented numbers, he said. He even referenced the exodus in his gubernatorial announcement. "I'm not effing leaving. I'm running instead. We've been talking about leaving for at least 3 years," he said, "and it's always been a serious consideration because it is impossible to do business here." In his real estate business, for example, he said he was stuck sitting on 12 vacant units for months upon months amid the statewide housing crisis because of bureaucratic red tape. Quote, "The government feels like this cancer that you can't get rid of," he said. "And the sad thing is the cancer doesn't even like itself. The people working, the teachers, the people working for unions, the people working in building and safety departments, they're miserable too because they don't want to work with miserable people, making other people's lives miserable." The latest social media tussle with Newsom comes months after his state was revealed to have used influence to suppress certain speech surrounding the 2020 election. That program affected the conservative group Judicial Watch as well as the nonprofit newsroom that brought it to light. For Paffrath, resuscitating California requires getting rid of Newsom first. "Newsom's got to go," he said. "We got to get some extra action to try to streamline the progress of the state." When told that millions of voters may not see rolling back stringent regulations as extreme, he laughed. "It's common sense," he said, "but unfortunately common sense has become associated with extreme in California." So there you go. I've sent you. Well, it's Fox News. Don't listen to Fox News. Meet Kevin Paffrath. He has a video which goes over about I think it's like a 20-step plan to fix California. And I'm telling you, Basil,
too many steps.
No, but he covers all the issues, homelessness, everything. He covers all this, and he actually provides a plan. You know how politicians say things, but they don't actually talk about the plan?
It's going to work against them, man.
Actually,
you can't put out the details because then they can be ripped apart.
Maybe. But and I'm not saying he's going to win. But I haven't heard anybody running for governor of California make so much sense. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying I love this guy or agree with everything that he stands for, but in terms of policy in California, he made sense. What can I say? Go look at his video talking about these issues.
You heard it here first, folks. Gons is voting Democrat.
Yeah, I will vote Democrat if it gets Newsom out of there. I mean, the problem with California too is that it's a one-party state.
I don't know. I haven't seen any ads as good as Caitlyn Jenner's.
Well, yeah, he's got the production team money there, but yeah, just wait. I'm sure he'll put on his thing. But he does have 1.5 million or 1.6 million subs on YouTube. He puts out a lot of content. He's well known in the world of real estate and stock markets and stuff like that. So he is influence with the wealthy people here. So, hey, I'm not saying it's going to work, but hey, he's got a point in my book for calling Gavin Newsom a weenie baby. This article actually didn't show the image, but he actually like had a photoshopped image of Newsom's face on like a little beanie baby thing. It's pretty funny. It was funny. Yeah. So, anyway.
Well, there you go. Keep an eye out. I'm not changing my prediction, but
and I'm not saying you should. But if we're actually looking at,
is this a paid ad? Did you get paid? Are you taking campaign money?
Not yet.
Kevin?
Not yet. No.
Not
no.
yet.
Actually, Kevin is trying to raise money. The last I heard, he had raised about $50,000, and he's like, and he claims that he can, what California spends, $1 million to do, he can probably pull off with $1,000. So, which is true. I mean, I don't know if you've seen some of these ads Gavin Newsom has done, but it's outrageous. He spent a whole bunch of money on some commercial with a grizzly bear.
Check. I don't know if he only has $50,000. I would hope for a $50,000 check to promote this guy, but might be a little bit above our pay grade.
I'm not in full endorsement mode yet. I am just saying I am leaning in the direction of this guy's policy thinking.
Okay. Well, Kevin campaign people, if you're out there, it's Canary Cry News Talk. You gotta make it out.
We can reach out to him. We can probably get him on if you want to talk to him.
Well,
we can talk about his turtleneck. You'll talk to Caitlin.
I got some questions, Caitlin.
Did you or Bruce murder those people in that car?
So what was it like running a stop sign and killing someone?
Oh, gosh. Okay.
It's just news, publicly available information, folks. Okay. I was going to say we could skip this little thing, but it's just a clip. You want to play this clip about UFOs?
Yeah. So this is under politics because Fox2Now.com. U.S. Senator talks about UFOs, aliens, and Roswell in new interview. It's not really an interview. It's a TMZ. Like, you know how they do. They like, they rush people and they ask him questions. So
we
here's
all know how they work. Let's hear it.
This is Senator Martin Heinrich.
Stuff going on right now.
I think we need to get to the bottom of it. It's pretty intriguing. I don't know what it is, but anytime you have legitimate pilots describing something that doesn't seem to conform to the laws of physics that govern aviation and is in U.S. airspace, I think it's something we need to get to the bottom of.
Right, but like they always say the conspiracies at Roswell, there's a lot of alien bodies in there or anything. Can you tell me the truth? You're on the Intel committee. Is there anything in there?
All I can say is I've never seen the bodies in Roswell.
Bigger thing to worry about, if it's a foreign government or if it's aliens.
Oh, option B, much bigger thing to worry about.
You think the aliens would be worse?
I cannot imagine if we have... If there is a foreign government that had these kinds of capabilities, I think we would see other indications of advanced technology. I can't imagine that what has been described or shown in some of the videos belongs to any government that I'm aware of. I'm not really a betting man, but the way these things operate, they certainly, you wouldn't want a human being or any living creature in something that moves that fast and changes direction that quickly. So like I said, I have no idea what it is, but I think we should figure it out.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, it does great.
Not
a whole lot there. Except for he says he cannot say that he saw alien bodies.
Yeah, what does that mean? That they operated on him, but he couldn't see them?
No, what he's saying is cheeky. I mean, he might just be pulling an Obama line.
Yeah.
but also, yeah, just because he didn't see the body. He said, I have not seen bodies at Area 51. Well, maybe he saw them somewhere else, or maybe he didn't see them. He just was told about them. Who knows?
Well, all he has to do is consult Alex Jones.
Who were made by the aliens.
I do need to issue a correction.
Uh-oh.
Bruce Jenner did not run a stop sign and kill someone, but he did cause a pileup that killed someone.
Okay.
Just to get the story correct, in 2015, he was pulling a trailer, being chased by paparazzi, rear-ended someone, caused a fatal car crash.
Oh man, it's paparazzi.
I know. It's like the Princess Diana story.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Ready to finish up with some beast system stuff?
Speaking of the beast system, beast system.
CNBC.com headline: Peter Thiel is backing a rival to Elon Musk's brain implant company.
Ooh.
Uh-oh, trouble in paradise. Peter Thiel and Elon Musk did PayPal together, right?
Yes.
Palantir co-founder and venture capitalist Peter Thiel has invested in a company that's putting computer chips into people's heads in a bid to improve them in some way. The early Facebook investor who co-founded PayPal with Elon Musk in 1998 has backed the firm called BlackRock Neurotech in a $10 million financing round, taking an undisclosed amount of equity in the process. The funding round was confirmed to CNBC by BlackRock Neurotech, but Thiel declined to comment. Founded in 2008 and headquartered in Salt Lake City, Utah, BlackRock has been selling hardware and software for the neuroscience research community for over a decade. Quote, it's a niche market, but one we knew we could get revenue in, and we've been profitable since 2015. BlackRock Neurotech CEO Marcus Gerard told CNBC, adding that the firm hasn't taken any significant venture capital funding until now. Quote, we got to a stage in 2020 where we didn't take all the contracts we were being offered, so we realized we needed external capital to do that, he added. Among other things, BlackRock Neurotech, which has 88 staff, is also working on its own brain-computer interface devices. As a result, it's competing with Neuralink, which was founded in 2016 in San Francisco by Musk and Max Hodak, who announced on May 1st that he recently left the company. Measuring just a few millimeters, BCIs are designed to enable humans to do things they couldn't previously do, etc., etc. We know what BCIs are. They go into a long article about that. But the point of this is Thiel's coming at you, Elon. Watch out. He's got his eye on the throne.
Yes, but also Palantir, which is Peter Thiel's big company here, is basically CIA.
Yeah.
Their customers include the NSA, the FBI, the CIA, and In-Q-Tel. There was a Forbes article that the headline of this article, how again, Forbes.com from back in 2013, how a deviant philosopher built Palantir, a CIA-funded data mining juggernaut. A 7-year-old article. And so it's no secret. It's no secret that Palantir is a data mining company and that the CIA is very closely tied to Palantir. So there you go. Who's controlling Elon if the CIA is going against him, you know?
I don't know. It makes him out to be much more of an underdog than originally considered.
Yeah, see, it's all part of the plan to make you like Elon.
Uh-oh.
All right. Anything else on that?
No, I think that's just...
What happened to my notes here in the word tardigrades? Because Gizmodo.com, scientists shot tardigrades from a gun to test a theory about...
aliens.
Woo! And if you if you have been with us for a while, we did tardigrades. We talked about tardigrades. I'm getting tired. A few episodes ago, over a year ago.
Yes, they crash landed on the moon.
Exactly.
There's worms on the moon, which we predicted in 2014?
Yes, the wormicorns.
Yes.
Now, this study is related to that moon crash. Microscopic tardigrades are among the toughest animals on Earth, capable of withstanding freezing temperatures, the vacuum of space, and intense radiation. As new research shows, they're even able to survive high-speed impacts, but only to a point. New research in astrobiology shows that tardigrades can survive impacts in excess of 1,620 miles per hour.
Oh, wow. That's pretty fast.
That's 728 meters per second.
That's 7 football fields a second, basically.
It's real fast. That's incredible. And we can now add this fun little anecdote to the seemingly endless list of things these resilient critters can withstand. But, and this is a big but, tardigrades cannot survive impact speeds beyond around 2,000 miles per hour.
Oh. Weaklings.
Weak. In which pressures reach 1.14 gigapascals. This means it's highly unlikely, but still not completely impossible for these itty-bitty animals to hitch a ride on an asteroid and subsequently survive an impact on a planetary body.
Wait, it means they can or cannot do that?
It's not completely impossible.
Okay, not completely impossible.
And indeed, this was the very thing that the new study was trying to assess, namely the, quote, ability of tardigrades to survive impact shocks in the kilometer per second and gigapascal range, according to the study, led by Alejandra Traspas, a PhD student at Queen Mary University of London. Because these speeds and pressures are typical of an impact, quote, that occur naturally in the solar system, the new paper serves as a test of the panspermia hypothesis. Basil, I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you, they are about to change the narrative of human origins.
Yeah. No, that makes total sense. Yeah, and for those who are not quite up to speed on tardigrades, there's these microscopic looking little manatee guys with 6 legs. If you saw Ant-Man, they made an appearance in Ant-Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When he's shrinking into the quantum verse.
Yeah.
He runs into a tardigrade. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that is. Again, I would have probably guessed that they would have used fungus for the panspermia hypothesis. Panspermia hypothesis, for those who also need a review, the theory that life on Earth was seeded by some sort of space traveling microorganisms on an asteroid. That's sort of the I don't know, the calm
simple way, yeah.
The simple way to explain it, yeah. Well, these little guys are tough, man.
To finish the little sentence here,
they can live in lava and stuff.
Oh, they can live everywhere. It's
They're
amazing.
Hardcore little dudes, man. Wormicorns.
So again, it's a test.
Mascot. People think our mascot is a canary. It's not. It's a wormicorn.
Again, it serves as a test of the panspermia hypothesis, the unproven idea that alien microbes can kickstart life and evolution on an otherwise lifeless world.
Uh-oh.
They get into the details of the experiment here, which was kind of interesting. I'll just read a little bit of it. For the experiment, Traspas, along with co-author Mike Burchell, took 20 tardigrades of the species Hypsibius digerdani and fed them a potentially last meal of mineral water and moss. The well-fed microbes were then put into hibernation, a frozen state in which their metabolism dropped to a mere 0.1% of normal. Groups of 2 to 3 individuals were put inside water-filled shafts that were in turn placed inside a nylon cylinder. A 2-stage light gas gun was used to fire these cylinders, along with their hibernating passengers. at sand targets inside a vacuum chamber. 6 shots were fired at speeds from 1,244 to 2,237 miles per hour, which the scientists measured with the laser light stations.
This is some science I can get behind, man. Loading up some little critters in a gun and shooting them out of sandbag. I think I missed my calling.
Upon recovering the cylinders, Trespass and Burchell analyzed the condition of the tardigrades to, quote, discern whether they returned to a mobile active state. A control group was also tested, in which 20 tardigrades were frozen, but not shot from a gun, and revived. All of them survived the resuscitation process. Miraculously, some tardigrades survived, but in the higher speed shots beyond 900, what is that? Is it meters? Miles? No.
I don't know. What are you looking at?
900 m/s, meters per second, probably.
Yeah, meters per second.
And 1.4 gigapascals. Quote, only fragments of tardigrades were recovered, according to the study. These excessive speeds and pressures literally caused the microscopic animals to break apart, leading Trespass and Burchell to write, quote, given that the results here suggest that peak shock pressures above 1.14 gigapascals will kill tardigrades, then it is likely that arrival of a tardigrade on Earth, for example, by way of a meteorite impact, is not likely to be a viable means of a successful transfer for such hardy organisms. So, yeah, unless they slowed down, put the brakes on.
Little parachute, little tiny wormicorn parachute.
Yeah.
I believe you can purchase pet tardigrades.
You can.
You can keep them in a little tank.
What's more, this experiment was limited to tardigrades in a single species at that. It's conceivable that other microscopic organisms, including simple bacteria-like microbes, might be capable of withstanding greater stresses. Simply put, the jury is still out on the panspermia hypothesis, even if it remains a fringe theory. Interestingly, there's a real-world implication to the new study. Back in 2019, Israel's Bereshit probe, with a batch of tardigrades on board, accidentally, air quotes, crashed onto the lunar surface at speeds reaching 140 meters per second, or 310 miles per hour. That's below the threshold of tardigrade destruction, leaving us wondering if these creatures are lying dormant on the surface of the moon.
No, they're not dormant.
I wouldn't put it past them.
There you go. Well, baby.
They survived the crash on the moon, most likely. Because remember, when we reported that in 2019, it was more like, we don't know, but these guys are pretty resilient. Well, now there's some science behind it.
The story had like an ominous tone to it.
Yeah.
They were like, uh-oh, whoops, we crashed a bunch of tardigrades on the moon. We hope they don't come alive. Like, there is like water on the moon. I mean, it's not in sort of easily accessible forms, but these little freeze-dried babies could rehydrate, start crawling around.
Yeah. And the wormicorn prophecies will come true. And
wormicorn prophecies.
They're going to rewrite the entire history of the human race. Came from little tardigrades.
Thanks, little buddies. Yeah. Also, be gone with you.
And Alex Jones will once again be proven correct.
We were made by the aliens.
And on that note, I think we did a show.
I think so too.
All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. We'll be back on Monday. That is May 24th. Put it on your calendar. Make sure to turn on notifications. And while you're at it, go ahead, hit that like button, subscribe. You know the drill.
Oh, sorry. I'm reading a little comment you left on our document.
Yeah, I know. We'll talk about it after the show.
Like, subscribe,
Sorry.
Sorry. Yeah, he's feeling loopy, guys.
I know. You start talking and then anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
Be back on Monday, the 24th. And remember, we'll need some producers for the show on Monday. So if you're out there and you've been considering becoming a producer of the show, don't take my word for it. Take the word of our new producers who say they had no idea why they waited so long, and they love the feeling it gives them. So go ahead, become a producer of the show. And let's see, you know, we committed. What is the word? Not committed. Oh my gosh! You thought you remembered the word. What's the word?
What are you talking about?
Dedicated. We dedicated today's producer segment to the moms.
Oh my gosh!
I think next producer segment we'll dedicate it to the dads. So if you're out there, you want to be a producer, you want to give a shout out or memorialize your father. I think is Father's Day coming up.
Yes, I think it's in June, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Okay, it's a little ways away. Maybe I should save that one. Nah, we'll do it. We're dedicating the next one to the dads. So if you're out there, become a producer, leave a note for the dads, you know. Let's let them know we care. And you can become a producer by heading on over to patreon.com/CCNT. That's patreon.com/CCNT. Or even better, head on over to canarycryradio.com/support.
canarycryradio.com/support.
That's right, canarycryradio.com/support. It's a great place to become a producer. So many options. And again, it's join us in this journey to single-handedly take down the advertising industry, or at least prove to them that we don't need no stinking corporations getting in our business. We are responsible adults. We can handle the news on our own. And if you agree, consider becoming a producer. But there's other ways to become a producer. You can also do so with your time and your talent. If you're one of these talented artistic folks, whether it's musically or visually, if you're a graphic artist, whatever the case may be, send your work, make it Canary Cry themed, pick something from the show, put it into art, send it on over to canarycryradio@gmail.com if you like it easy, or canarycryradio@protonmail.com. if you like to keep it a secret. Very much appreciated. And thank you to our time stamper for last episode. I believe that was Rachel C. Thank you, producer Rachel. We appreciate it. And thank you to all of our producers for this episode 340. Canary Cry News Talk. That is producers Mindy, Tina, Four Winds, Vladimir, Robert, the Plastic Cracker, Cherie, Rebecca, Shield Labs, that's Sir Casey the Shield Knight, Aaron J, Christopher, Samuel, Scott, James, Ciara, Todd, Tristan, Kim, and Cassidy. Thank you all for supporting the show, and a big ol' happy birthday again to Sir Casey the Shield Knight, buddy. Woo! And okay, there we go. Did that. Oh, make sure to leave some reviews. I'll be reading reviews in 1 week. But remember, folks, it takes a few days for those to show up. So do it now. Take 2 minutes. It's super easy. Or if you're on your iPhone or whatever, head on over to Apple Podcasts, search for Canary Cry News Talk, leave a rating and a review. It really helps us out. We appreciate it. We'll read it on the show. I have to read whatever you write. So there you go. Make me say something silly. Who knows? Okay, let's see what else we got here. Lastly, just share the show. Share it on your social media. Share it with somebody in your life, because, you know, you got friends, you got family. They're all starting to wake up to the fact that the world is not what it seems. And I think we're a pretty good place to start for people. Or, you know, hey, if you got the weird conspiracy theorist uncle, let them know about the show as well. We are good across the board for the news, deconstruction, the analysis, the picking apart that old web of the mainstream media. Everybody appreciates it. There you go. You need any more instructions? Here's what you do. You walk right up to him, you grab him by the cage, and then you shake it.
The end of the world occurred pretty much as we had predicted.
I want to shake things up, stir up some controversy, rattle a few cages. Hey, stop that! You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man, a crusader for the little guy. Leave the bird alone. Never.
The human race will have every opportunity to improve.
And if they don't?
Ask Noah.
That's right, just ask Noah. And a big old shout out to everybody meeting up this weekend in Florida. Be blessed. Go with God. Gons, any last words?
Genesis 1:1, in the beginning God created the heavens and the earth, not tardigrades.
Booyah, tardigrades. Take that, you tiny little weasels.
Whoa. They're probably crawling on you right now. You better...
Little tiny weenie babies.
Weenie babies. Newsome tardigrades. Oh, that's what we need. We need somebody to Photoshop Newsome science on tardigrade's face.
All right, everybody. We'll be back on Monday. That's May 24th. Be here or else. Thanks for listening to this episode of Canary Crying News Talk. Make sure to tune in next time. But until then, think outside the cage.
Aborted feces.
Keep yapping, man.
I wanna shake things up, shake things up. I wanna shake things up, shake things up. Leave the bird alone. I wanna stir up some controversy. I wanna rattle a few cages. I wanna rattle a few cages. Aliens. I'm the last angry man. You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man. I'm the last angry man. You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man. A crusader for the little guy. Little guy. Little guy. Well, we'll see about that.
Whatever, Illuminati. He's a Satanist and melt those babies into candles.
Fun fact, I believe it was another fun fact.
Come on, man.
Fun fact. Another fun fact.
Brings me back to my Screamo days.
Aborted feces.
In the future, humans will be confined in a people's zoo.
I'll keep you safe and warm in my people's zoo.
Hallelujah.
I'll keep you safe and warm now in my people's zoo.
Demonic power.
You and you in my people's zoo.
Are you even woke?
I'll keep the cameras on. In my people's zoo. I'll keep the cameras on now. In my people's zoo.
It will kill.
You, yeah, you in my people's zoo.
Everybody loves waffles.
Are you going to believe what you see or what I tell you?
Congratulations, you are being rescued. Please do not resist.
Liar!
I tried to tell you. I tried to tell you. I'll make you fat and sassy in my people's zoo. I'll make you fat and sassy in my people's zoo. You, yeah, you. You, yeah, you. You, yeah, you. In my people's zoo.
They are scum.
Do not come back, you Nazi psychopaths!
I'll keep you warm and safe in my people's zoo.